What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Shaman.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right, this is where every show is our first show, because here we demand perfection, and we are so far from it. That's why we're right on time, 10 minutes late, as always and as promised. This is Wrestling on the Rocks. I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show, and today we have a special guest referee. That's right, we have Mika or Micah from Specifically or Sporadically Devoid podcast with us today. Mika, Micah, say hello.
Hello. It's not a Wrestling on the Rock show if I'm not referred to by the incorrect name or the incorrect podcast.
I know. It's been really bad. Like, yours has been consistently in the chatter, and every time it's a different pronunciation of the same words. So it's not even like we're just messing up and saying the wrong name. It's just specifically the same mistakes over and over again. We're horrible.
Some would say that you're devoid of knowing the right names.
Yeah, that could be it right there. Hey, Micah.
What's up?
I'm glad that you're on the show today. I think it's going to be a fun time because there's a lot going on with WWE as pertains to the crowds being back, starting on Smackdown, going into Money in the Bank and into Raw. And you don't watch WWE typically, right? You maintain just watching on the clips of the YouTubes and such, right?
Essentially. Sometimes I'll watch a good Smackdown, but usually I work on both Mondays and Fridays, so I can't watch them live.
Yeah.
So usually at 10:30 I call Derek and say, what's happening on Raw? And he lets me know what's happening on Raw. But typically I know what's going on SmackDown, but it's been a while since I've seen a Raw live.
But even then, when you know what's going on, do you even watch the shows entirely? Like, will you go back and watch a full Smackdown when you hear that it was a good one?
When I hear it's a good one, yeah. But
outside of that, not always.
You know, typically the section of the IWC that that the algorithm thinks that I'm a part of would rather me see AEW biased material.
That's fine. That's all good. That's what I'm excited about because I always like having the conversation. I like knowing how it's being viewed by people who don't view it all the time. I do think that there is something to be said for comfortability. I think that a lot of us get into our grooves of what our favorites are, and we get into our own biases, and we become devoid of knowing our biases and acknowledging them and accepting them.
Said the magic word.
I did it. I snuck it in. We'll let you plug in just a second. But that's what I'm excited about for this content is that you and I both have different biases that we're both fully aware of, and we both sat down and watched this same thing. We're going to be able to have a conversation based off those biases and how is it being perceived or seen by somebody who intakes it nonstop versus people who just kind of keep up with it. Or I say people, but that's you. I mean, you speak for the people.
Yes. I'm every AEW fan too, apparently. So if you just throw out generalizations like every WWE fan does, I'll be okay with that.
Oh, you're the representative.
Yes, I am AEW. I'm basically Tony Khan. I'm basically Tony Khan.
Yeah, you're like the Twitter EVP.
Yes.
Yeah, no, totally makes sense. Micah, why don't you tell people about your show a little bit before we get going in it? I just wanted to say why I was excited to have you on, and then we'll take care of housekeeping and then get to it.
Oh, not even my dog is that excited that I'm in the room. So that was a very warm welcome. I am Micah from the Devoid brand. You find us on Twitter at Devoid Podcast. That's capital D, capital P. And over at Specifically Devoid, we got a bunch of content. We got a regular podcast. We got a wrestling podcast. We have our world famous game show We got a new show called In Kayfabe that maybe Ref Marsh is on in a couple months. Who knows? And In Kayfabe is a great concept. Apparently never thought of before, according to some people on the internet. I guess I'm a revolutionary in that aspect.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of one-off shoots. We do very diverse things, but we're like Marsh and I, Derek and I don't agree on a lot of things, and that's why our show is entertaining to watch. We're both two very funny people. Me more than him, in my opinion, because I am the funniest man alive, which also makes me the most toxic person on the IWC. Hashtag Micah is toxic.
That makes sense, actually. That makes a lot of sense. It's provided a lot of clarity, I think. Micah, I'm having vodka, and I am mixing it with peach mango soda here. That's what's in my glass. What's in your glass?
What's in my glass is the world famous Mike's Hard Lemonade original, or what I call Micah's Hard Lemonade, because I'm Micah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a classic right there.
It's
Did you get the tall boy?
very no, I've got it. I'm drinking from a glass because you said what's in your glass. So
Yeah. No, that's the gimmick right there.
disingenuous if I had a tall boy. That's a can. That's a metal. That's aluminum. That's aluminium if you're listening over and if you're listening in Britain, why are you doing that? It's like 2 a.m. there.
Well, they're allowed to do whatever they want. And they can always rewatch it. They can always check it out again because we are on every podcast platform. You can find out all about that on wrestlingontherocks.com with all of our links, all of our information, especially as it pertains to our Pro Wrestling Tees website where you can buy a t-shirt as well. I do want to say real quick, and we'll get into it. I don't have much for news, and there's so much that happened this week in WWE that I want to make sure we're going to have a different type of conversation, I think, about it. I do want to say we are being sponsored today by New Wave Coffee, Flow State Coffee at newwave.co. Go to NOOWAVE.co and put in your promo code CHEERS for an additional 10% off on top of any of their ongoing sales, or just get 10% off if there are no ongoing sales. But Flow State Coffee is specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for productivity and creativity, with better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee, while decreasing the negative side effects like anxiety and blood pressure. So have yourselves a glass of New Wave. They have subscription services, which is pretty cool. So, well, I think I'm ready to talk about some of this stuff. Are you?
Yeah. It's going to be a rocky situation to get there.
What happened? Did The Rock come back?
You said Devoid, so I made a rock joke for Wrestling on the Rocks.
Oh.
It's episode 1. Can I get a restart?
We can redo it. Let's start over.
Cool.
We'll just run the beginning again. Let me see here. I'm going to pull up some SmackDown notes, because here's the deal. We're not going to go through every single segment on every single show, because we did have SmackDown, we did have Raw, we had Money in the Bank. That's a lot to get through, and a lot of the stuff intertwines with each other. But I do want to definitely hit some of the hotspot stuff. I saw people were being critical of it. What did you think about SmackDown? For one, the fucking crowd, man. I talked about it earlier, I believe, or maybe I even missed my chance to talk about it last week. Was last week the first AEW show in front of a crowd?
No, that was a couple
second?
weeks ago.
was 2 weeks
First
ago,
week of the first week of July was in Miami,
Yeah, and then this last one was in
Austin.
Austin. It was in Texas. I do remember that they lit the crowd way better on the second one than the Miami one. The crowd in Miami, you can only see like 3 rows back, and I was like, you have a bunch of people there. Show them off, man. But either way, when I was watching AEW, and this is relative because it's not a critique, it's an insight. When I was watching AEW with the crowd back, it felt really weird to me that there was just people there and they were responding and cheering and stuff. And it occurred to me that it's been so long since we've seen full crowds that I have to readjust for crowd now. Where before I had to adjust for lack of crowd and the silence, and then you had to adjust for the Thunderdome noises. I've been so trained away from seeing crowds that I almost felt like I was watching archival footage when I was watching AEW, and it felt really weird. Did you experience that at all?
I felt it kind of felt euphoric because it's been talked about for the past year and a half about fans coming back. Like last year, there were talks about fans at SummerSlam and then Royal Rumble and then WrestleMania. And WrestleMania kind of felt like a fever dream. Like it felt a little like weird that there were fans. It kind of felt like the Super Bowl a little bit. Like, should there really be fans here yet?
Yeah.
And so I definitely think that this month, because AEW has had full crowds since Double or Nothing, they've just all been in Jacksonville until this month. But those are like the same people going to the shows essentially. Like these are new crowds. Like these are new faces, which I think is important.
I think it's critical because I think you get complacent crowds. We are seeing that with NXT fans a lot. A lot of the NXT crowds are the same crowds all the time, and they like the same thing that they always like. Like, I do think the NXT crowd, as a quick side note, is I think the biggest problem that the talent has when they move to the main roster. It's not in the main roster struggling necessarily always. I think a lot of it is the NXT crowd likes it's the same people. So you don't know what's working and what's not. Even if you're working out on stand-up comedy, you get to different crowds to find out what actually works. Hey, this crowd liked this joke, but none of the other crowds did. Maybe that's not a great one. If you're performing in front of the same crowd all the time, always, it can be a fucking rocky start when you start with a whole bunch of different people who are used to seeing something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. That by them moving out of Jacksonville, that was great in that regard. But I was going through like growing pains almost as I was watching AEW, trying to figure out how I felt about the crowds. And it wasn't even like a should there be crowds or shouldn't there be crowds. It was just all like, this is weird. There's people there that are making noises and stuff. Like, they like it and everything. Like, there was nothing bad about it. I just felt weird watching it. But I think that helped in a way because by the time Smackdown came on with 15,000 people in there for a Smackdown, close to 15, it was shy. But still, I round up because I'm a WWE fan. So 300,000 people for a Smackdown. And I felt like the crowd was so on fire and so electric. I was even watching it on my phone. I wasn't even watching it on a TV because I wanted to watch it live, and my phone thinks I'm in Arizona as far as like my location services went. So I was able to watch it live on my phone instead of waiting till 8 o'clock at night. And I felt like my heart fluttering. I've got goosebumps. I felt like I was in the crowd. It was so electric and so on fire. And I loved that Vince McMahon came out and just looks at the crowd and goes, "Where the hell were you?" and then walks away. Micah, what did you think? What did you feel about this crowd?
I mean, that Edge pop sure did seem like there was 300,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah, it felt that way.
Same thing with another pop that I think may have been the pop of the century. No hyperbole.
Yeah.
But it was wild. It was wild that there was like genuine reactions because obviously in the Thunderdome, like they have to, like people can say like they pipe in crowd noises, but like they had to pipe in crowd noise because it was weird. And I think the first test of that was that greatest match of all time. Mm-hmm. They were like testing that out, but like if that would work, and it kind of worked. It was just weird a little bit.
Yeah.
But
and apparently that was Bayley's idea. I forget if it was Triple H or someone else in an interview who mentioned it, that Bayley told them backstage that it's just so awkward wrestling with no noise at all. They're like, can't we just like put crowd noise through the speakers or something so it'll make us think we're performing in front of people?
Right.
And that's what it started. Supposedly. I don't know. I wasn't there. Did this crowd feel any different to you than the AEW crowds? Or is it just me getting used to it?
Well, we talked about this on Twitter. That I think that promotions right now are just trying to. I think fans will pop for mostly anything right now.
Yes.
Because there has been such a demand to not be in your house and to go to a wrestling event, because genuinely people who go to wrestling events like wrestling. Mm-hmm. Apparently not everybody, but that's besides the point. So I think that probably until the end of the year, crowds are going to pop hard for stuff because there's just been such a lacking of.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And I think that, like, kind of like what you were saying, but now that we're in fans, we don't know what has worked or not worked for the past year and a half. They're just guessing. We're just guessing. Yeah. Because there hasn't been crowds, so they're just like, we think this guy's a heel, but maybe he's not a heel. Maybe he's a good guy. And they're gonna have to get used to that because for the past year and a half, they've been able to make their narrative in whatever way they want. And now that there's genuine crowd reaction, it's like stand-up comedy. They've got to do stuff that works, or they're gonna get a crowd that turns on them, which they haven't had in a while. Yeah, no,
Twitter backlash is not the same as a whole crowd booing someone out of the building who they thought was going to get cheered.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree. I think it's all kind of neat. But, I don't know, man. I thought this episode of Smackdown was beat for beat pretty close to perfect, man. Like, I had no complaints about this show at all, and I thought it led into Money in the Bank awesomely. I thought that the way they opened the show, just showing the crowd, hearing it, Vince McMahon comes out, crowd goes nuts. He says, "Where the hell were you?" Walks away. Everyone goes, "What?"
I was definitely very confused. I was so confused. I was just like, oh my God, he could have done so much more. I felt like he said more when the Thunderdome happened, but like, also at the same time, do you really want to see Vince McMahon talk? I think that he gets that like, this isn't my show anymore. This isn't 1998. This is their show.
Yeah, 100%. I think that when Vince comes out, it's a treat. Whether people want to say they hate him or not, when you're in a crowd and you hear "No Chance in Hell" and McMahon comes out, it's a fucking big deal. He doesn't pop up all the time.
That pop was one of the biggest. That pop was one of the biggest of the weekend. If I'm being honest, the whole crowd chanting "No Chance in Hell" with the song was weird. That was when I was just like, okay, crowds are back.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Like there's been crowds in AEW for like a while, like limited capacity, but there's still been crowds, whether that be wrestlers or fans. And so AEW really hasn't felt really out of step. Like it wasn't like those early Raw and Smackdowns where there was like literally no fans and they would still shoot from the sides.
Yeah.
Instead of up the ramp. So AEW has felt the most normal of the shows, but this really felt like the first big show back. Like Double or Nothing definitely was like the first show big back, but like they only had like 6,000 people max there. Like you could tell that this was you could tell that this was like a big crowd.
This felt like a mania almost, man. It was insane.
Yeah, it was weird because the Raymond James Stadium is an open stadium, so all the noise isn't trapped. Like in this enclosed things, all the noise is trapped. That's what people don't realize.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know. I loved it. And I loved it that right after that, so Vince comes out, he says, "Where the hell were you?" And he walks away because, like you said, he's giving the people a treat. He's giving them a little something, just a taste of it. Just happy to see you. And he walks away all awkwardly, which was so funny to me. But then they go ahead and hit Roman's music. He comes out. Usos right behind him. Then you hear the Mysterios come out, followed by Edge coming out. Dude, it was almost 20 minutes of entrance music and pop. Entrance music and pop. Like, it was so cool. By the time that the even first commercial break hit, because that was like before the match even really started, came back to the match. Mm-hmm. Like, my heart was racing. I felt like I was in the arena. Like, it was just all that crowd noise just flying at you. I thought they started the show so smart with that. Just do entrance after entrance after entrance.
It's pretty cool that, like, Dominic Mysterio's first match in front of live crowds is the first show. It's the first match of the first show back. Like, that's got to be so cool.
And got to be weird for him. He's had no matches in front of fans.
right? And he's only had big matches.
Yeah.
Mainly. Like, he might have had, like, some, like, shitty matches on, like, Smackdown or Raw, but, like, other than that, Seth Rollins matches, Austin Theory matches, tag team title matches, teaming with his legendary dad, who can still go. Like, holy shit, man. Rey Mysterio is, like, gotta be near 50, and he's going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's fucking tremendous. And this match was so good. They fed into everything. I don't know. The crowd was just on fire, and I felt it come through, which I don't always say. Even back before, and I would be like, oh, the crowd really liked that one, but it doesn't always resonate at home the same way. You just hear it and go, oh, that's cool. The crowd went nuts. But I felt like this show seemed so big. Like, I felt it. Like, it made me remember what it feels like to be in the audience, I think is what it is. You know what I mean?
I do. And this was risky. Like, this could have been the main event easily.
Yeah.
And the main event could have opened in, like, a fast-paced match. But, like, because, like, this is the biggest story in the company, really.
Yes.
The whole head of the table thing. And so putting that on first, super ballsy, and it definitely paid off.
Yeah. Oh, man. I fucking loved it. And I love the look of Edge coming out through the smoke again. Every time Edge comes out and he looks more and more weathered, I fucking love it, dude. He's like straight out.
He also looks more and more like he's crying. Like, he looks really sad every time he comes out now.
That's true. He's sad, concerned, worried.
Yeah.
The other big thing that happened on SmackDown, we'll talk about a couple things. Finn Balor made his return to attack Sami Zayn. Dude, I loved the Sami Zayn promo. I love Finn Balor coming out. I like that Balor was still being a badass. It said Prince on the screen. It wasn't Smiley Balor Club. It was the Prince. I'm so stoked for that, man. And I'm so stoked to have Sami and Finn Balor back in another program together. Those guys are so good together.
And Sami Zayn cutting a promo thinking that he's the babyface.
So good.
It's so good. He's just like, you people are on my side, right?
Yeah.
Which is genius. Because usually heels would be like, you people, but like he was like, no, like you people are good, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, for the most part, heels are like, you're all against me. But he knows he's so obnoxious and out of the way that it makes him a heel to say, you guys are all definitely behind me, right? What do you think about Shotzi and Knox?
I still think it's weird that they called them up. I think I still stand by what I said last week. I think that they could have come out this week and it would have been a pop.
Yeah. I don't think it hurt anything, though. Because I don't think they didn't get a pop here.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, like, a debut. Because that's a debut for them.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like a lot of people were getting debut-style pops at this one.
I definitely feel like it's weird that they beat the tag champs. For what it is. Which apparently Booker T says that Natalya is the greatest female WWE superstar of all time.
Yeah, I don't think I would argue that.
I think I would, but that's fine.
Yeah. I think that people who, and we've talked about it before, if you don't understand the value of Natalya, then you just don't pay attention all that much. You take everything super face value. She is one of the smoothest in ring, and she is the foundation of that whole division. Like, she's taking care of everyone there. There's no mistake about it. Natalya is in every single ladder match for a really specific reason. No one's going to get hurt with Natalya in the ring. And everyone's going to be where it is. She's kind of the mama bear of the women's division. And and she's the one who trains the most on her own and with others. Like, you don't get the women's division.
She trained Ronda. She trained Ronda. And Ronda's really fucking good.
Yep. She trained Ronda, but I mean, even then, that was mostly, partially kayfabe, but she works a lot with all of them. Lana, did you notice the difference in Lana the last year she was there from the first match she had to the last match she had? Like, it was night and day. she was so bad when she first started wrestling. By the time she left, she was having decent matches, man. And that's a lot. But she worked strictly with Natty on that one. What's happening in the chat? Broken Nose Kuro came through. Cheers to Kuro and his broken nose. Did you break it, stick it in someone else's business? That's my theory. But yeah, I think people, Natalia's severely underrated and underappreciated for what she is, who she is, and what she gives to the company. But I also do understand that she's not the most exciting. She's not Shotzi Blackheart howling with green hair in a tank. You know, Natalya has a really similar gimmick to Brett. When you go back and really watch Brett's stuff, he wasn't the most exciting, even when he was really popular. Like when he was the champion, he wasn't so exciting. He was just kind of a chill, cool guy who was champion and the best in the ring. That's kind of how she's playing it. Pretty sure that's something she wants to say.
Kuro's in the chat saying, I got elbowed when I was at Money in the Bank.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Kuro, were you at this Money in the Bank?
He wouldn't have a broken nose for a year.
2 years.
Okay, forget it.
Wasn't
Guys,
that Money in the Bank
you guys-
2020?
All right,
point.
Kuro said yes. You see what I have to put up with, guys?
Good point. 2 years. But, okay, so I like Shotzi and Nox. I like them as a team. They're getting wins over the champions. I think that Natalya and Tamino, like them or not, are incredibly credible as champions. Can you at least agree with that?
Sure.
Such a dick. I'll fucking slap you, dude. I'll slap you right in the face. They're badasses. Let's see. So I do like that they're pushing Shotzi and Nox to the moon on that one, and we'll see where that goes. I have a feeling they'll be tag champs before long. Let me see. Bianca and Carmella. Yo, so they had this match, which was fucking outstanding, I thought. You tell me what you thought about it. But they also announced... Go ahead.
I was going to say Carmella's super underrated.
Yes.
She's like
Yes.
she's woefully underrated. Like,
Yeah.
people don't like her for whatever reason.
They're wrong.
Like, you got to respect that, like, she did not come in. You could definitely tell in, like, NXT. If you were to tell me, like, Enzo, Cass, or Carmella, out of those three, I'd probably say, like, Cass would be the one to be the best. But, like, Carmella's, like, she's really good. There's a reason that she was women's champion and Money in the Bank holder.
Yeah, I really feel like, producer lady here, I really feel like she works at, like, whatever she wants. She really does work her ass off. Like, you know, when people talk crap about her, it's like, well, you know, her dad was a wrestler, and she has no qualms that he was a jobber, and, you know, speaks highly of him. And I just thought that was really awesome. I thought, you know, it's a really cool place to come from to, like, appreciate anyone that's in the ring who works at it. And he was with legends, so it's not like he was just, unforgettable matches. Like, he was in the ring with some legends.
Yeah, and I think that Carmella also is the type to... What do you mean? She doesn't, like, throw her training in your face. It wasn't like when Lana was training and every day on her Instagram you'd see another video or another picture of her training with Natty, and you go, oh, cool, she's working on it. You know, oh, good, she's working. Carmella on her social media doesn't even really almost ever show her in the gym.
No,
even lifting weights.
She'll show in the gym.
Occasionally.
I've seen a good number of her in the gym, which also is just like, oh, good. Like, she works at it, like, clearly. She doesn't just magically get this body.
Yeah, but even then, it's like few and far between. She doesn't post regularly in the gym. It's just occasionally, and I like that because I like it's the idea of, like, what do they say? Work in secret and succeed in the light kind of a deal. Like, let people see your success. They don't need to see your steps along the way kind of a deal. Shock and awe kind. And plus, I think it also works for her character. For her to be like, oh, yeah, I'm a natural at this. I'm just always been this good. The whole thing she had with Sasha, you know what I mean? Where she goes, you're mad that I don't have to work as hard as you. Well, if you look at her social media, it really doesn't look like she's working as hard, right? Because she's having wine and sitting around with her dog, and you're like, oh, she's never at the gym. But you see her day by day looking better and being better in the ring. Dude, and I know that people thought she got the SmackDown Championship too early. If you watch the match that she won it in versus the match that she lost it in, her progression during that time frame was also through the roof, man. She was getting so good by the end of it. Her match that she had where she lost it, she was flawless in. So
The shit that she's been doing with R-Truth, like I know they kind of stopped that, but even the shit she was doing with Reginald, like she's also like kind of funny.
She is.
Like,
Especially,
and there's a lot of not funny people in WWE that they kind of just they kind of force them into being funny. Johnny Gargano.
Gargano, Austin Theory. I'd say
Well,
Indy's not naturally funny. I would say Miz not naturally funny. Morrison.
I don't know,
really
but
funny.
Miz is actually funny.
But well, I've never seen him tell a joke, so.
but I was actually listening to Carmella and Corey's podcast, Bear With Us, and she's hilarious. She's always singing, like, musical style. She's hilarious.
Isn't that like Linda Belcher? Kind of.
Yeah, but she's more like the hot mom. What? Hot stepmom.
I think Linda Belcher's pretty hot. What say you, Micah?
Linda Belcher wears like mom jeans. I can't imagine Carmella wearing mom jeans.
She might. Micah,
I
what do you
can.
think?
I can imagine Carmella wearing mom jeans.
I'm definitely thinking about it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But dude, how perfect was this match? It was so good.
Kind of sad it wasn't on the pay-per-view. If I'm going to be honest.
It could have been. It was good enough.
I feel like we say that about a lot of pay-per-views, that the pre-match is always like a really great setup. Like I feel like the past couple pay-per-views you've said something similar, that you wish it were in the
Pay-per-view. Yeah, this was one of them. I think that it's super smart that they're replaying this one. Not literally replaying it, but they're what do they call it? Yeah, following through again. Running it back for the Rolling Loud crowd.
Yes. I also think that that's very smart for WWE to do Rolling Loud because I can guarantee you most of those people are not wrestling fans.
Yes.
And that is a huge market. But there's going to be a lot of drunk people, a lot of young people. That is such a demographic that they're not in. And so, like, I have friends going to Rolling Loud, and I told them, when it came out that WWE was going to Rolling Loud, I was just like, yo, are you going to go see Edge at Rolling Loud? And he was just like, what are you talking about?
That just shows how young you are. I had no idea what this was.
I had to Google what Rolling Loud was.
Yeah, it's a rap festival.
That's what it said on Google, yeah.
Yeah. I guess we're just not in the same demographic there.
No.
We're definitely
I'm-
not.
That's why I watched
Guess I'm
that
18 to 35 and
You're cool.
That's why.
Kid.
Yeah, that's why I watch AEW and you watch WWE.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in the right demographic for that. They appeal to my sensibilities.
That's why you're so jaded.
And that's why you've proven AEW is written by kids for kids.
Hey,
It's the
Tony
fucking
Khan
Ed,
and I.
Eddie.
Tony Khan is like our age, number one.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's your
Okay.
age. I'm sorry.
First off,
I'm sorry.
listen to
Isn't
that
Vince
guy
McMahon-
in a goddamn interview. That dude's mentally 13 years younger than any of us.
Vince McMahon's actually an old man, though.
Tony Khan?
Vince McMahon.
Oh, yeah.
He's like
No,
actually
we
an old man.
respect our elders in this house.
Triple H is like easily 50.
Kuro's in the chat saying, wait, so at Michael Cole wasn't the only one I didn't know. And he said TK is 38.
TK is 38. Yeah. But mentally, where is he at?
Mentally, if he's at 25, he's still writing a pretty
still
good
writing that
television program.
Fair enough. Hey, but I do think, like you said, so there's going to be a ton of people at Rolling Loud. And I know we're kind of bouncing around a little bit. And it's going to get more bouncy here in a second.
Yeah.
But speaking of bouncing, at Rolling Loud, putting Carmella and Bianca in a match is going to turn heads.
Oh yeah, especially
I mean?
yeah, because there's going to be a lot of single guys there wishing that they could get some. If you will.
You have, as Michael Cole has continued to proclaim, the most beautiful woman in WWE, Carmella,
Yep.
as Michael Cole tells us regularly.
and Corey Graves.
Corey Graves. Greg Hamilton, basically everyone except for Carmella.
So I think
is throwing it down
SmackDown's
our
going to
face.
be. I think SmackDown this week is going to be interesting because they're filming it from Ohio and Rolling Loud, and they're going to simulcast it, or not simulcast it, but it's going to be like a Raw 25 WrestleMania 2 situation. And hopefully it's not more. Hopefully it's closer to Raw 25 than WrestleMania 2.
It's definitely going to be closer to that. What it is they're going to have 1 or 2 matches at Rolling Loud.
They have
That's
2
it.
announced.
2.
And
What's
John
the second
Cena's
one?
going to appear. It's a men's match.
Okay,
It's not another women's match. I'll look it up right now. Jesus Christ! I feel
not
like
more
I should.
women. Well, fuck it, forget it. But I think that's super smart. Like, because I mean, for one, both of them have really
Big E versus
like,
Apollo for the IC title, I think. Yeah, Big E versus Big E. So that'll be a good match,
that'll be great. Yeah, they're great in the ring together.
especially if a Commander Aziz comes. The crowd is gonna love
Without
him.
trying to sound like a dick,
Yeah.
and forgive me if I do. Do you think they're pandering a little on the nose? By
Yes.
putting Bianca, Carmella, and Big E and
Yep.
Apollo?
Yep.
You think so?
I think it's definitely. I mean, but here's the thing, those are championship matches.
Oh yeah, they're fucking fantastic.
So
As
like
just a
it
general
makes
wrestling
sense.
fan, it's like awesome. I guess
Can you
that's what-
imagine Can you imagine if professional rapper John Cena also appears at Rolling Loud?
I mean, you're saying if there was a Bad Bunny show that they wouldn't have Humberto and Mysterio, and like
Bad Bunny
understand.
might be at Rolling Loud. Who knows?
He might be there, but I'm saying that I think that they would. That's what I mean. Like,
no,
it's,
I agree.
but I think it's a
Well, I
little
mean,
bit,
like, here's the thing. Outside of like a couple people, wrestlers aren't famous. Like there are some wrestlers who are famous, and then there are most of them who are not. So they are trying to appeal to everybody.
Yeah, the ones who have dipped their toes in some acting or some other avenues. Music,
Here are-
I think.
Here are 2 attractive females and 2 attractive males. Here we go.
I'm just
you tell
waiting
me
for
that-
a chance to say a thing.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
what I'm saying and what I'm asking is, I do think that they would do that, but I do think that. And is it just a win-win type scenario, right? I think it's a little pandering to put 2 black males and put 2 pretty women in the ring to try and get attention from Rolling Loud, but maybe that's actually smart because, like you said, they're championship level matches. These could main event pay-per-views. So it's,
One of them
is it just a win-win thing, or do you think there's like a pandering thing to it, or no?
Are any of them from Florida?
Well, that's a good point. Big E is from Florida. And
So maybe there's that.
that could be part of it too. I think it's just a win all around.
Well, also they can also boost up their attendance. Like 50,000 people attended SmackDown because from my friends, there's over that weekend, there's supposed to be 300,000 people coming through Rolling Loud at one point or another.
I wonder where the ring's going to be. Do you think it's just going to be like in a tent? Or do you think it's going to be like in the middle?
I think it's going to be like a circus where they're just going to have like a ring in like the middle of a field.
It's going to be so fucking cool. I think it's going to be dope, man. I think it's smart. I do think it's good. And I do think those are great matches to put there because, like you said, they are going to be incredible matches of athleticism. Carmella and Bianca are going to turn heads.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to go there and say, like, ooh, look at them. And then get there and watch the match and go, oh, holy shit. These women are really good at this. This is not fucking mud matches of 20 years ago. And when they see the power of Big E and the straight athleticism of Apollo, it's going to be like, holy shit, these guys are next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think those are fucking perfect for them.
I wonder if Edge is going to be there for like the nostalgia. Because a bunch of those people who aren't wrestling fans might know who Edge is.
Yeah, they'd probably know Edge. They would definitely know Cena, but I think Cena's going to be in Ohio, right?
They haven't confirmed it.
Actually, someone posted the schedule. I'd have to look, but also thinking about it, and maybe I'm just off because we were talking about this earlier. The idea that the world title picture for the past like 3 months has been only black men, to me has been awesome. I mean, outside of Drew being involved here and there. But the fact you've had Xavier Woods, Kofi, you've got MVP, you got Lashley, you have Keith Lee on this Raw. I'm trying to think of even back in the day when people would have been watching, even in the 90s. I think
Roman's
the idea
also not white.
That's true.
And
But I think
so,
it
and the
pertains
same,
to Rolling
and the same line,
Loud.
Oh, I was gonna say
Like-
in the same point. Neither is Jay.
Yeah. No. But I think when it comes to Rolling Loud, the idea of being like, these are our black athletes now, I think is a big statement too. Because it was almost just like you could name the couple at the time. And now it's like we've got roster of diversity and everyone's represented in a way that you can be proud of, you know?
Right. Bobby Lashley's only the third black champion on The Rock and Kofi. So
Yeah. 100%. I don't know. Just cool. It's just cool. I'm excited to see how that plays out. Like you said, I think it's going to play out like Raw 25, where it's going to be like, and we're going to cut to this one match, and we're going to cut back to this one match. I wonder if they're going to do something in the arena for people outside of just play it on the screen.
probably in Ohio, definitely not in Rolling Loud.
Oh, for sure. Rolling Loud, they're just going to be like, in a match, and everyone's going to go, oh, okay. You know, but
I guarantee there won't be any promos there. And I guarantee you maybe Pat McAfee shows up at Rolling Loud because he's actually hip.
and he is so good. Did you see the video clips that were floating around with him talking to Texas? He's standing up on the arena on the table and grabbed a mic and just started addressing Dallas.
Yeah. So I've been
fucking
watching
good.
Pat McAfee's podcast for about like 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy that now people are realizing how fucking awesome Pat McAfee is. I used to watch him because he would talk about football because he's a former professional football player. So like he would talk about it with the insight of somebody who played.
In quotes. He was a kicker.
He would joke about like, I was only a punter, so I'm barely a football player. But
That's so good.
he's so funny. And like,
Oh, yeah.
I know you don't like him, but that match against Adam Cole was
I love him.
fucking awesome. Was fucking awesome.
I love Pat McAfee. Matter of fact, I don't follow sports and will watch almost every clip that Pat McAfee posts on his Twitter when he's talking about sports, because the way he breaks things down to me is both parts entertaining and enlightening. I've literally listened to things on his podcast and then text Kevlar and been like, so I hear this is going on in the old football world. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me sound smart or something. And I got no fucking clue. And I'll have Kevlar break it down for me more. But, like, Pat McAfee makes it not only digestible and entertaining, but he makes it even seem so fascinating. Why would you not want to know more? You know what I mean? So I think it's
And he's funny, so like it makes
hysterical.
yeah. There was Michael Cole was on his show recently, like this past weekend. He said like you revitalized my career
Oh,
because it's not like JR and Lawler back in like the 90s and 2000s where it's like a heel commentator and a face commentator. It's just two commentators.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's way better. It's way better than Corey Graves just like siding with every heel. It's just these are two people having a good time. I think SmackDown. I think the
fucking
important
jabbing
like,
at each other.
Yes, I think that. Oh no!
I'll fix it. Can you hear me, Micah?
I can hear you. It's very fun. It's only episode 1, people.
Only episode 1. Technical difficulty. You stop kicking cords.
Oh, it's completely black on the YouTube feed.
Sorry, it's not now. It's back. We're back, baby.
I still can't see you, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to come back on your side. You won't see me, but the
Really?
podcast will. Yeah, we'd have to go out of our way to make it so Zoom to pick up the camera again, and we're not going to go out of our way.
We still see you though.
Yeah, we see you. Well, I don't see you. For what it's worth, I'm behind the monitor, so I don't see you at all during the show, anyways. So now we're on the same level. We're on the same equal playing field, as they say.
Graham saying, "Hey, Marsh and Micah."
Justin Time says, technical difficulties, take a drink. It's a good point.
Oh,
Episode 1, technical difficulties.
that's on the bingo card.
Graham coming through. It's on the, yeah, it's got to be. Camera goes out. What I was going to say about Pat McAfee, the way that they jab at each other is also so good and is so much more fun than the typical I'm a heel jabbing at the babyface commentator because you don't see things the way I do, or what would you know, you imbecile. It's the bad guys that are smart. It's really Pat McAfee just being like, I don't know why Michael Cole would have told me that earlier. And then someone, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot more subtle, like buddies just trying to make each other look bad for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love it. He's so funny. All right, Micah, you still with me?
I'm still with you. I can't see you anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just jarring.
Well, I've never seen you.
That's not true at all.
Well, only time will tell. We'll see what happens when those episodes are released, if I ever quite looked at you or not.
I don't know what his face looks like, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Just running through SmackDown, there was some Cesaro Otis stuff, which was all fine. Good matches and stuff. It was what it was. Kevin Owens. Baron Corbin, dude. What do you think about Corbin having the GoFundMe for Corbin? I forget the website, but it's real.
Yeah, but
So-
he can't even afford a live link.
Yeah, it's not even a real live link.
That's-
There's no donate
that's
button. It's a photo.
Really funny. I guess in kayfabe terms, they're still employees or wrestlers. So, like, the fact that in kayfabe WWE isn't paying him enough is a little weird.
No, it's not. It's not weird at all. Heath Slater's whole gimmick was, I got kids, I need this job, because he
Right.
could barely afford to live with all of his kids and stuff.
Right, but having kids is a choice. Baron Corbin in kayfabe doesn't have kids.
No, but he's made terrible investments and lost all of his money. So now he's
Right.
trying to rebuild that fortune, right? So unless we want to believe that he makes $100,000 a check, the idea of losing your entire savings and then living check to check is what we would be experiencing from him now.
I guess he's just not sympathetic. He's still just an asshole. But, like, they can totally make this a sympathetic character.
I think he's absolutely sympathetic.
So you found no sympathy in this, in what you're saying.
You're telling me you're a cold-hearted son of a bitch.
I mean, I'm
You
the,
said-
I'm the most toxic person on the IWC hashtag.
So
Micah is
he comes
toxic.
out
So I don't really give a fuck about Baron Corbin, I guess.
he comes out all sad.
He used to be
disheveled.
he used to be an NFL player. Like, screw you.
He invested
What more
poorly.
can you want?
You know how many times Eric Bischoff's gone bankrupt, dude? That dude's literally been bankrupt like 4 times. He's had
I'm
literally
sorry.
no money.
You know how many AEW people are not poor though?
Exactly. Wanna know why? Because
But I'm
none
not-
of their gimmicks are being poor. Like, they're almost making a mockery of poverty. WWE is. They're like, wouldn't it be funny if the bad guy was poor?
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh my god. Building sympathy for a poor, broke-ass Baron Corbin. I'm
They're not
curious to
gaining
see where they go with it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, everyone
He
cares.
is.
They're not getting
Absolutely.
sympathy. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
hear one cheer for Baron Corbin. Wanna know why? He's not the babyface.
They didn't cheer because they were busy going, "Aw."
That's true. That's all I was
didn't-
seeing on my timeline.
I didn't hear
actually.
his.
My timeline was feeling sorry for Corbin.
Your algorithm is all messed up. You got to get on the right side of the AWC.
I will say that I did see a lot of timeline where they're going like, "I can't believe I actually feel bad for Corbin right now."
Yep.
I've
that's
seen.
what
I
was
did.
saying.
I have seen a lot of that.
Don't care.
To be honest, I don't know that I'm super sympathetic for Corbin, but I am invested in this progression of this character and the idea that this Corbin character, who was just months ago flaunting his $10,000, $20,000 watches, and I would legit take screen grabs of those watches and send them to Clump, our resident watch expert, and he'd go figure out what watch it was and come back to me, and we'd find out how close he was to the mark, and it was usually dead on. They were
yeah.
expensive as fuck.
I
The-
stopped looking at his bottles of booze. They're just too
yeah.
expensive.
The bottles of booze he has on his Instagram are always like $400 bottles, because there's been a few times that like producer saw some bottles he had and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna order one of those for Marsh so he can have like a nice bottle of something like Corbin," and then look it up and was all like, "The fuck he will," you know. The dude smokes like $30-$40 cigars, like they're individually like $40. For him to go to, "I've lost everything in my investments," which is the opposite of Cameron Grimes, I love it.
Isn't it funny that the bad guy's poor?
Yeah, bad guy's poor. It's hysterical.
funny.
Now
It's
he's like
actually
me.
Yeah, but you're rich in friendship.
Nobody likes me. What are you talking about?
That's fair.
You're like, that's the word on the internet. But then Kevin Owens came out, gave him a big old stunner, and that went over well.
Crowd.
Yeah, crowd loved it.
Crowd loves a good old stunner.
Yeah, and then
We'll
had
talk about stunners more for Money in the Bank, I guess.
Was there a bunch of stunners in there?
Oh yeah, Kevin Owens stunnered like the entire field
Everybody, right?
in the match.
And
And Ricochet
before...
did a big thing. Because of
His
course he
Ricochet
did.
shit was so good. Let's see. At the very end, the Fatal 4-Way, Seth Rollins, Big E, Kevin Owens, and Nakamura was just fucking stellar. And you know what I realized here? I was starting to get tired of Boogs already. But I'll tell you, him in front of a live crowd was completely different and absolutely revitalized everything I liked about Boogs to begin with.
I don't like the name Kingsuke, I guess. I don't like that at all.
According to the WWE.com stuff, they call him King Nakamura.
That's so
It
bad.
is Boogs who calls him Kingsuke.
That's
a
so
Boogs thing.
bad. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be bad on purpose, but I don't like it when you win King of the Ring and then your gimmick changes your name to being King.
So you've never liked King of the Ring in the history of time?
No, because like
Okay.
Brock Lesnar when he won. No, that's not what I. Brock Lesnar when he won wasn't King Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't like King Corbin because I didn't like that the King of the Ring defined who he was.
That's the same thing for Booker King, Harley Race, Haku, Owen Hart,
King?
Macho Randy Savage.
Macho Randy Savage was that outside. He was already Randy Savage.
No, he was
When he
King
won King.
Macho. He was Macho.
Right,
He was the Macho
but
King.
when he won that, he was already Randy Savage. Like he was already like superstar levels.
Yeah.
No, Baron Corbin is not Randy Savage.
And Harley Race is neither, nor Haku.
Okay, my mom knows who Randy Savage is. My mom has no idea who Haku is. They're
Was your
not the
mom-
same level.
Your mom
What?
knows who I am too. How about that?
Oh yeah?
Just kidding.
She actually does. She watched the last one. So
Hi.
New fan. Woo! I hope she bought New Wave coffee.
no, and she did also buy anything off of TW Takes store, which you can get 20% off if you use the code TW Takes.
Also, if you use the code DIVEBAR, I think you get 25% off. By Bishop at twtakes.podcast.com/twts.
It's a good point. If you go to Pro Wrestling Tees /Wrestling on the Rocks, you can get some nice new t-shirts like episode 1. And,
Yeah. Actually, more news about episode 1 shirts coming soon. We're going to be able to sell some discount directly to you from us. Graham, if you're still in the chat, yeah. I got episode 1 I'm going to get you a good deal on. We just got to figure out. I thought you might be in Europe, so I wasn't going to give you a price point on EX. I was like, well, I don't know how much it's going to cost to ship. So, but knowing you're in America, where you belong, then we'll be able to get you one.
Didn't we already beat the British so they wouldn't have to live here?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
All right, so you're not a fan of King.
He's not a fan of King of
King
the Ring in
anything.
general.
King
okay.
gimmicks. I didn't like King Sheamus either. The only one that was acceptable was King Booker. But that's because he played it so over the top.
It was so
King
fucking
Corbin
funny.
is just boring.
Well,
I just think
Corbin
Baron
had
Corbin's
a
boring.
bunch of people walk him out. I mean, if you don't like Corbin to begin with, that's fine. But I liked what it did for his character because it needed a change in general because the Constable Corbin thing was a little done with. And he's so good in the ring and on promos.
Oh, he has a beautiful moveset. I just think
yeah.
I just think that he shouldn't talk.
What are you talking about? He's fantastic on the mic.
Okay.
All right, well,
He's a
he doesn't
natural
like him.
speaker.
He doesn't like him. That's
Yeah, he's getting worked.
yeah. It's like you know.
I don't think I'm getting worked. It's, I don't like somebody who doesn't support who makes fun of the troops on Twitter, but I guess that's just me.
That's not a thing he did, so
That's the thing you did, I swear.
it's not a thing.
I read it on the internet. It must be true.
Oh,
Well,
must be true.
I mean, if
Well,
Meltzer said it.
Veteran here. I'm not offended by Corbin. I love Corbin, so boom, done. Moving on.
It's a good point. She's the veteran, and she'll
Yep.
tell you right now, Corbin above Lacey every time.
Every time. Hell yeah.
What?
Yup.
She walks like a lady. Talks like a lady.
You want to know how ladies walk? Boom, like that, right there.
Right there. She stands up for women. She gives women's rights.
Graham says I'm here for at least 8 more years with my current green card.
Perfect. We'll get him in. We're gonna hook him up with an episode 1 shirt because he was begging for an episode 1 shirt the whole time. Finally designed one in secret, and the day before I submitted it, he bought a not episode 1 shirt and goes, "Well, I guess I got to support one way or another." And I felt like garbage when I saw his fucking order come through because I was all like, "Oh my god, this fucking dude! All he wants is a good episode 1 shirt, and he had to settle for something else." And it was all in the works. I felt so bad, so I'm gonna hook him up. We're gonna get him a good deal on it.
All right. I'm sending you the link of the Baron Corbin thing from 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's see. Well,
Hey, at least I'm consistent.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm curious as to where that gimmick's gonna go, just because like he's poor. So now what?
Maybe he becomes somebody's butler because he needs money.
I was hoping that maybe he just starts talking to himself more and getting more out there and connects with Sami Zayn. Starts getting in the conspiracy theory.
I think that's possible. I also like the idea of Cameron Grimes coming up and buying out Baron Corbin.
Oh my god, and then he's Cameron Grimes' butler, so whenever LA Knight tells Cameron Grimes what to do, Cameron Grimes just says, Baron Corbin, you go do it. I don't want to do that shit.
It's going to be good. It's going to be so good.
Because maybe Baron Corbin's funny. Like, who knows?
Yeah, he's pretty good. Well, I guess he's not funny. I mean, even when I watch his Instagram stuff, he seems like a relatively serious guy. And if you watch the Not Sam Wrestling WWE exclusive show, it was on the network. I guess now it's on Peacock. They sat down and talked horror stuff. And Corbin seemed like a really cool guy. He seemed dope. But yeah, he didn't come off as like an overly funny comedic timing type. He just came off as like kind of interesting and a little dry. So maybe that's a problem. I mean, you didn't even like, you said you didn't like the fucking Office, the UK version. You said it didn't make you laugh. So if you don't like dry humor, dude, that's on you, man.
I said I didn't like that clip.
Well, that clip was the best ever. So everything else is lesser than
WWE
right?
fans just saying general statements.
Let's see. But that was to me, I thought it was such a fucking good go-home show before Money in the Bank, dude. And it set up for Money in the Bank so good for me. What did you think of that SmackDown overall as we wrap up and move on to Money in the Bank?
Overall, if I were to give it a score out of 10, I'd definitely say 8.
Yeah.
Which are pretty good. It's 80. It's a B minus. If I brought home a B minus, my mom would say like you can do better, but like it's still pretty good.
What would you give the last AEW show?
I'd also give it an 8.
Okay.
I thought they were on par. I feel like AEW is building, where SmackDown was just like we need something.
I felt like this was one of the best SmackDowns in 10 years, but maybe it was just because the crowd was so electric.
I think it's the crowd. I think that's why the AEW show was so good to me too, because the crowd, like a real crowd, not Daly's Place crowd.
So yeah, I read this little article. It's kind of funny to me. Yeah. So okay, Corbin has always done this thing where when someone attacks him, he'll just say, "Oh, look at your profile picture."
Oh, he just posts the profile picture, and it's not an attack. It's him posting their picture to say this is the person saying this. It's not necessarily like look at what they look like. It's more of like an expose of like your face. You know what I mean? Like put a face to the name.
Yeah. So this dude was quoting Meltzer, of course, and said something along the lines of Uncle Dave's more respected in wrestling than you'll ever be. And Corbin responded, respected by who? Losers like you with a profile picture in a high school gym indie show. That's what he said, not knowing that the dude was a veteran. And so the veteran, he had posted a picture of himself with Vince and other stars during a trip to Afghanistan. And he deleted the tweet because he felt bad for pulling the military card. And Corbin did apologize. So...
yeah.
yeah, I'm still not offended because he wasn't trying to say, "Oh, you're a veteran," blah blah blah.
Yeah, he didn't talk shit about
Yeah.
veterans. He talked shit to a guy talking shit, and then the guy
Yeah.
pulled "I'm a veteran" card and said,
Yeah.
"How dare you do because I do this?" Well,
Yeah,
that wasn't a part of the conversation. It got shoehorned in, so it's not supporting the troops. You fuck. Here's the other deal. The USO trips are all 100% voluntary. They ask the roster who would like to go. So if they go, it's because they rose their hand and decided to go. That's something that I've heard in a number of interviews. JBL's talked about it. I've heard Cena talk about it. I feel like someone else did. Maybe it was Natty. There's a few
gone
of them.
to that Rock one.
Yeah, the one with the Rock.
The one in Hawaii.
Yeah. But they're 100% voluntary, and I don't think Corbin's missed one. I don't think Natty's missed one. Like, they're doing it because they do appreciate it. I mean, it's like the I saw it online a while back. I'm not going to use names because I just won't. But there was someone started shit with someone else. The one person talked shit on the other person, and the response was like, "That's how you talk to medical workers?" And it's like, well, it's not like it was like part of the conversation. You shoehorned it in, like you're suddenly allowed to be an asshole because you do a job that people are meant to respect. And it's like, no, if you guys are talking shit to each other, then that's void of that. It's a devoid argument.
I'm just saying.
Sporadically devoid.
You're saying you're looking for a reason to hate him, but
Yes.
No, I mean, it's whatever.
That's fine. You don't have to like him. I'll tell you right now. I don't like any of your favorites. I have no idea who his favorites are, but I hate them.
I've never said publicly that I like Kenny Omega.
That's a good point.
You-
And we
you don't
both
like Roman
dislike
Reigns?
the same Young Buck.
That's true. The same Young Buck is the worst Young Buck. He is the youngest. He's the oldest Buck, but he's the suckiest Buck too.
You know what's funny too? Because I told him, it's like, I don't even know their names. I couldn't tell you which one I don't like. He goes, I know exactly which one you don't like.
It's the one that everyone doesn't like. No.
Let's see.
Nobody
Graham
likes
does say, I watched the whole Smackdown show last Friday for the first time in at least 2 years. Thought it was thoroughly enjoyable. Dude, I really felt like it was one of the best Smackdowns in like 5-10 years. And part of that could very well be that the fans were so present and so electric, and I could feel it the whole time. But that's also part of the experience of this stuff, right? When I think about the greatest moments I've ever been to live, 2019 Royal Rumble comes to mind, but I was second row, and the energy and electricity was just flying to the ring, and I'm in the crosshairs of that. And I remember the roar and the feeling, like the physical feeling that I got when Becky won the Rumble, and just the amount of energy just being pushed down to the ring. Like, it was crazy to feel it. And I was all like, holy shit. Like, it hit, like, you seen that movie Powder? It was probably from before you were born.
It's about the white guy, right?
That and Newsroom, yeah. Also about the white guy.
Am I wrong? Is he not a white guy?
He's pretty white.
Yeah,
He's pretty
there
white.
we go. Hence
I've seen
power.
him dance. There's no way he's not white. Yeah, but like how he's got that burst of energy that goes out. Like, I feel like that happened live. And so I think that there's part of the experience of being there and just being there and feeling that. And the electricity of that crowd was so much, it was coming through. Let's see. Kiro does say, respect me. I was dishonorably discharged from the Canadian military.
There we go.
Were you rude? I feel like you'd be just...
It's dishonorably discharged? Did you not
Yes.
like tip somebody or something?
No, he probably was rude to somebody one time, and they're all like, hey. Let's see. Graham does say, look it up on Netflixpedia, Micah.
Get
Kiro
the
says
fuck
it
outta
was
here.
not a
Don't
joke.
throw
He
that
actually
out.
was dishonorably discharged from Canadian reserves.
See, now you're making fun of the troops. Graham doesn't. Marsh
Yeah.
doesn't support the Canadian troops.
Not the Canadian troops, no.
they're very nice.
What have they done?
I
for
bet
me
they
lately?
are. I bet they're very nice with their Nerf guns.
Is that like a... Yeah, they got Nerf guns. They got Mounties. Sounds like a wonderful time.
Go watch hockey, you fucking.
Why are we hating here?
All right. Everybody calm down.
Don't hate on AEW, but if you hate on the whole country, that's fine by me.
Yeah. Justin says that's what I call a yikes. Let's see. All right, so let's talk Money in the Bank.
Let's.
I thought SmackDown was fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Just overall.
We did.
Yeah. That's how the show opened. That's how we
Well,
would
the
have
show
started.
opened with Vince, but I guess I'm the one who watched the show.
Son of a bitch. God damn. Well, let's see. The Usos on the kickoff show. Did you get to watch the kickoff show, Micah?
I did not get to watch Money in the Bank live at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I was at L work, but what I did find out is that Jimmy Uso got the pin, which I found very interesting
Why?
because of real life stuff.
So you think that he should win but not get the pin?
I thought I don't run a wrestling company. I thought it was really strange that he got the win.
Okay.
That he got the pin. Jay could have gotten the pin. Doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying, it seems like WWE either is taking care of this very well behind the scenes, and we're not hearing anything about it, or maybe
Because
they
it's
don't
nobody's
care.
business.
Right? Maybe they just don't care. It is nobody's business, by the way.
Yeah.
It is nobody's business.
It's 100% nobody's business on how they're handling this, how Jimmy's handling it, how the family's taking care of it. I think that if we allow... I mean, I wouldn't even call this one a dirt sheet thing, because this was just a TMZ article that, was obviously accurate in news, and then the dirt sheets pick it up afterwards, because the dirt sheets, all they do is read news and tweets and then say, here's our news. Guess who scooped it from WWE.com. I just don't think that kind of stuff is as necessary to give out as I think that the fans think that they deserve to know. I think that we can assume based off of the past and other people who have spoken out, other people who have gone through different rehabs through the company, that the company in and of itself would be active and not completely turning a blind eye to it. But I think it's really easy to paint the narrative that WWE is very evil because that's the fun thing to do. I just think that it comes down to a lot of personal information and personal struggle that just doesn't have to impact, for whatever it's worth, it doesn't have to impact how I enjoy a show, what's presented to me, or my belief in what they're doing backstage. You know what I mean?
I will say that what he just said is what I was seeing mostly on my timeline. That a lot of people were not super thrilled. They were a little surprised.
What are they hoping to see, a public shaming?
I think it was weird that he was the one who got the pin. That's all I'm saying. I don't
Weird
find
how?
it wrong. Usos. What?
Weird how? What is the message you're getting from that that's making it feel weird? You're interpreting something. You know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely am. I just I don't know. That seems like more of a reward.
So you want to see a public shaming or some sort of public?
I don't want to see a public shaming.
Just
I don't want to see that. That's
you just
not
want to see a punishment. So just a punishment would be nice.
No, but he hasn't been off of TV.
Okay.
Since then.
So what does that tell you about what's happening backstage?
Oh, it's none of my business. That's what it means.
And it also tells you nothing about what's happening backstage. For all we know, he's undergone fines. For all we know, he's undergoing counseling. I don't know. I have no idea. But the thing is none of us know. If you're assuming that half of a tag team got the pin in a match that they were involved in, therefore he's being rewarded for issues in his personal life, I think that's a grand assumption as well. You know what I mean?
I do.
Like, I'm not trying to attack you, but you're representative of the entire IWC right now.
That's fair.
You're a man of the people.
That's a good point. See, it sounds weird when you do it in a low hush tone. But no, I just think I think it's just weird that they kind of, because even when Roman like broke the wellness policy, and they like kind of wrote that into the story, in the Shield triple threat. So they could write off Jimmy being suspended, I guess, when he's not actually suspended. They could do a kayfabe suspension, and he just like deals with all this stuff. But I think dealing at the same time while also being tag team champions, so you're representing an entire division of your most well-known show publicly, is challenging for him. Is going to be challenging for him while he's dealing with these personal issues.
It could be, or it could be a much easier comfort to have your family surrounding you instead of being isolated in a home with a bunch of booze. You know what I mean? Like it's very possible he's being surrounded by people now to keep him that way. Like I think of, not speak ill of anyone, especially if they've passed, but a lot of the struggles that Jim the Anvil Neidhart went through cyclically. There was a time where when Bret Hart was doing signings and meet and greets, he would, whether they wanted, like whether it was part of the agreement, if you signed Bret, you got Anvil. Because he wasn't going to just let Anvil be home alone. It was going to be part of the thing because he knew that if he was near him and with him, he could help him. Where if by punishment you just leave them alone to their own devices, it could be more destructive than ever. And I don't know, man. I've dealt with a lot of that stuff personally as far as friends go. I've lost several friends to alcoholism. Close friends. So I know that there's a literal danger on the other side of it, and it's a really tough battle for everyone involved. Like, you don't know where the line is and how to help correctly, but you know you're going to try whatever it is. And I'll tell you, the people I lost, they weren't surrounded by loved ones all the time. The people who got through it were surrounded by people and were busy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the right answer. But I'll tell you, I don't know if the idea of like, hey, he needs to be suspended and stay home for a long time. I mean, having lost people, like I said, I don't know that I would feel comfortable in saying like, hey, you've got a problem. Let's isolate you.
I don't think that he should. Yes, I understand what you mean. I just don't think that. I think that him being on a public forum makes things more complicated because people like you and me talk about it. Well, well, if he was like a private citizen, then like none of this would even have come out. Because how many people get DUIs every day?
Yeah.
So him being on a public forum, like that's why things like TMZ and Dirt Sheets would write about it.
Yeah.
Because he's a celebrity is hard to say, but he's a person of note.
Yeah.
So it's definitely harder for him to do that. But
it complicates things for sure. The people I know who've gotten DUIs have not lost their job because of it.
Right, but the fact is but did they go to work the next day? Or
some of them.
That week?
It doesn't stop them from getting promoted.
Nor should it. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve chances. I'm not even saying that. I don't want to insinuate, nor do I think that you are, that Jimmy Uso is an alcoholic. Because I don't know. I don't know Jimmy Uso. I don't know the man behind him.
Right. It doesn't look good, but yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just gotten caught. Maybe he just has bad luck. Seriously, maybe he just has bad luck. He doesn't have a problem. Who knows?
Could be one-offs.
I don't know him.
Could be a habit. It's hard to know if you're not there.
Yeah, he's never publicly said it, and I don't know him, so it's hard to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit the chat real quick here because Kuro does say Jimmy needs the Jeff Hardy treatment. Is that winning in a bar fight? Jimmy does say, I personally don't think the Usos should have won. It doesn't really make sense to reward Jimmy with a tag title. I'm not saying I want him punished. I just don't think he deserves a title. So you're saying I don't want him punished, but I don't want to see him rewarded. You also are basing, like, let's be honest. You use the word Jimmy and Uso. You're talking about characters. His name is John. The guy who got a DUI was John. I'm saying I don't know why we have to insert what we find out about someone in their personal life to what we see on TV. You know what I mean? Think about Stone Cold. And I'm not trying to drag anyone. The dude was involved in domestic violence. And no one said, well, he shouldn't have this title. Well, he shouldn't have this match with The Rock. You know what I mean? And that was out there. I'm not saying that Jimmy needs to have these things and deserves and has earned them based off of his personal life. I don't fucking know. But I also don't know that someone's work has to be impacted by whatever troubles they're having in their personal life. And I don't know that those two things can't be dealt with kind of simultaneously without, quote, the product suffering in a way or not. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's a little muddy and a little complicated, and it's a little high and mighty to sit here and say he doesn't deserve this because he did a dumb thing in his personal life or he needs help, so therefore don't do this. I don't know that I don't know if we're in such a high tower that we can just make those judgments on somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you pointed out a good thing. They didn't really think about was that Jimmy Uso isn't real. He's a portrayal from John Fatu.
Yeah.
Who yeah. So I guess looking at it like that, like if Jared Leto is a bad person, like that shouldn't affect the Joker being in the next movie.
Yeah. It could definitely work. It could definitely work against you if you're trying to get a role and nobody wants to work with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you're an asshole at work, whether you're drinking or not, it doesn't matter. Nobody wants to be around you. You'll get fired, right? You're a dick. But I've known a lot of jovial drunks who were fun to be around who never lost their job because of how much it destroyed the rest of their life, you know?
Right.
So
also, he's worked with the company. He's been on television for like 10 plus years.
Yeah.
That's not even on. He's just been on Raw or SmackDown for 10 years with Jay.
And that's not to mention the amount of times that they spent around anyways.
Right.
When they were kids, they were around.
So they have like relationships with like higher ups.
Yes.
Like they know Vince McMahon, the person.
Yeah.
Pretty well because they've worked for him for years. They know Stephanie McMahon. They know Paul Levesque. So like it's definitely also like they know him. Like it's not just like your boss and your employee. Like when you work at some place for over a decade, like you get to you form like a personal relationship.
Yeah.
So they also behind the scenes care about him on more than just an employer-employee relationship.
Yes. 100%. And the amount of people who don't even work for WWE or didn't work for WWE at the time that WWE paid for them to go through rehab tells me that they want to help people if they want the help. I mean, Sean Waltman has talked about on different interviews the amount of times that WWE put him through rehab. Like multiple times when he wasn't with the company. Just would call them up and want help. And they would give it to him. Like, I don't think that this is some great reward where it's like, keep doing what you're doing. I think that that's an assertion we're making based off of us not getting the public shaming or punishment that we subconsciously want. Whether we're saying we don't want to see that, if we're saying, well, we don't want to see him succeed either, then it feels like you do want the other thing.
But is losing a pre-show match like a failure?
It's not success. If the idea is that they're building the storyline with Roman, where the bloodline, the family is so strong, they've got all the championship gold, and we go, well, you made a dumb decision in your personal life, so we're going to take that away and do something else. I mean, maybe that's a reasonable call. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I do know that I've seen a lot of people with a lot of problems not be affected at work because of it.
I know you don't fantasy book on this show, but my fantasy booking is that the Usos are still tag team champions when Roman loses. So they say that they're the head of the table now because they have gold and he doesn't. And then Roman's just like, no, I'm going to beat you guys up now. Yeah. And so like Roman has to like prove that he's still the head of the table without title gold.
That could be dope. That could be really good.
Could be. Also,
can you imagine Roman going up against the Usos for the tag titles in a handicap match and taking the tag titles off the Usos?
my God, I would love that.
That'd be so fucking good, dude. Let's see, Justin Times in the chat too. He says, I don't agree with WWE giving them the titles. I do think that this is some kind of WWE intervention for Jimmy. They're giving him everything to open his eyes. And Miss Amanda Jane coming through saying, hi, cheers to Miss Amanda Jane.
Cheers.
We had a watch along this past week that we pre-taped, so this week it's going to be a lot to talk about when we talk AEW. Let's see, Kuro says, yes, he needs to be in a bar fight his addiction literally, like a Firefly Funhouse kind of a deal. Graham says, sweet, book it now. Yeah. I just think it's a lot more complicated than people want to assume. I think that it's really easy to do the Twitter shame that everyone likes to do, get something trending. But I do think that having buried several close friends of mine and having seen other people get through it, I think it's a much more complicated thing than this person should be publicly shamed and then everything will be okay. I think that it's a very complicated situation. I think that whatever it is between all of them. And I think our role as viewers is to view. I think that there's some stuff that is probably unforgivable. There's stuff that people could do that's just not okay and they got to go. I think this person battling his own demons the way that he did was stupid and irresponsible, but I don't think that that needs to reflect necessarily on screen in a way that, bottom line, I don't give a fuck if it makes you uncomfortable, right? If the company and the people are honestly trying to do what they think is best for him, then I don't give a fuck if my buddy Justin in Pennsylvania, or no, New York proper, actual New York, not Delaware. I don't give a fuck if Justin feels uncomfortable by it because they're doing what they think is right. And I'll be honest with you, I've buried enough people. I'm going to go ahead and support the people who think they're doing what's right and not the people who are observing from the outside.
I thought you were going to say, I don't give a fuck about Delaware.
I don't give a fuck about Delaware, dude. Fuck.
Whoever lives in Delaware.
Like, what are you doing? You know?
What are you doing? Go to another state.
Yeah.
New York is right there. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Even go to New Jersey. Go to New Jersey. Go see Pizza Wrestling August 7th.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, man? Like, I'm not trying to like bring it all down, but hey, at the end of the day, I wish I didn't have so many tattoos to memorialize my friends. And I think that it's really
I'll drink
easy
to that.
Fuck, man. Yeah.
I have zero tattoos. I just wanted to drink.
Right? But you know what I mean? I just think that like that narrative of, well, they shouldn't have done that because of his that issue is just kind of like, at best case scenario is tone deaf. You're probably privileged in a way you don't understand. You know, it's a tough situation, man. It's fucking tough. So I'm here for the support. If Jay had won, would everyone have felt okay if he got the pin, do you think, Micah?
I think it would have been way less reaction. I think because it was Jimmy, I was a little more upset than if it were to be Jay. But then again, Jay did assist. So it's almost like Jay got the pin.
I mean, they're a tag team, and those dudes do more tandem offense than I think most tag teams out there. So I can't imagine a finish that involves only one of them.
Except the Young Bucks. But whatever.
They don't do tandem offense. They do synchronized offense. There's a fucking difference.
Nope, they do tandem
Prick.
offense. I'll shut.
They
you
do
want me
not.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm the one who watches AEW, so I would know, but
There's no way to know that for sure.
I will send you fucking Young Bucks clips. I will legally obtain them, and I will cut together a compilation of the Young Bucks doing moves like more bang for your buck. Or
You're gonna put together 30 Meltzer drivers and be like, see this one move they do in all their matches where they do it together?
No, I'm gonna put a few indie takers in them.
All right. Let's
They
see.
do. Hey, Super Kick Party. I'm pretty sure that's what the Usos do too.
That's not tandem off. Son of a gun. Let's see.
I'm
Miss Manny Jane
sorry.
says, I always wonder what Twitter would be like in the WWF days. The roids and drugs. Yeah, you wonder. Kuro says Delaware.
Oh my god, could you
Just
imagine
counting
like
some-
WCW versus WWF fans in the 90s?
Dude, there's an account out there on Twitter that pulls up a bunch of shit from Meltzer stuff and found some stuff back when Mankind came out with Socko of a bunch of fans being like, this is fucking garbage, this is so stupid, Mick Foley's career is over, I can't believe they would do like it was this whole thing is all like wrestling fans have always been the same, and I was like, wow.
Why are they burying Mick Foley?
Exactly. Fucking strapping him down with his fucking Mr. Socko brick. That's it for him. And you're like, okay. It's just kind of neat in that regard. Let's see. Graham does say there's some good indie wrestling in Delaware.
No, there's not.
Oh, Kuro
There's
spelled it
nothing good.
right. He spelled it Delaware. Where.
I can't even tell you where it is, man. You point me a map and I'll say, I don't know. I'll point to Kansas before I'll point to Delaware.
You know where it's not? It's not in New York.
It's true.
Well, let's keep it moving. I do like getting in the weeds about some of that stuff, though, and I do think that it's worth a conversation. And if the timeline's lighting up with what does someone deserve or not in a situation that...
That's the worst conversation
point.
in wrestling. When people say that this person deserves this. That's the
Or
stupidest
doesn't.
thing I've ever heard.
it's
Like when
ridiculous.
people are like, Miz deserves the WWE championship. I'm just like, he doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah, what do you mean? He
He's like-
deserves it.
He's a character in a television show.
More or less. I mean, when you really break it down. And I do think that there's a certain level. One of my absolute favorite things about watching wrestling is still getting worked. That I'll watch stuff and I will buy in. And I will forget, or I'll see something happen later and I'll be like, oh my God, they got me. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. I love that they can still get you that wrapped up in it. Depending on, not with everything, but they can get you wrapped up in enough stuff where you completely buy in and forget that it's just a character on a TV show. Forget that what you see on screen isn't everything that's happening. But like, I agree with you. There's that whole fucking, this person deserves it, this person doesn't, as if you know what happens that's not scripted on TV. You know what I mean?
Well, also, I that's not why I don't like it. I agree with that. But could you imagine any other television show you watched where you're just like watching it and give me a TV show that's popular.
Scrubs.
Give me another one.
Frasier.
Let's say pick a television show that was made in this decade, please.
He's asking for a television show that's popular, so I'm giving some popular television shows. Samurai Pizza Cats was a big one.
Oh, all right. Let's say The Office. Let's just say The Office. Everyone knows The
UK
Office.
version of The Office. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Fine. What if people are just like, Tim really deserves a better storyline? Like, could you imagine any other television show where the fans just thought that their input was more important than the actual show that was going on?
Yeah.
It's insane to me. That's what I don't like about the IWC is that
Yes.
we all think that like it's cool that Daniel Bryan was basically like fan driven in that story to WrestleMania 30, but like it's such an entitled thing of us as wrestling fans to not let something play out for at least 2 weeks.
Right.
At
And
least
the
give it a chance.
100%. And the idea that, so it's one thing, you know what part of it is, I think?
Internet culture.
I love Conrad Thompson in a lot of ways.
Oh.
There's other ways I'm annoyed by him, but
I'm gonna
I
buy
like
a house.
him overall.
It's from Conrad Thompson.
If I'm buying a house, I'm calling Conrad.
Right.
SaveWithConrad.com. But
You get all your deals
I
there.
think the way that they go back through nostalgia era, oh, this happened in 84, this happened in 85, this was 92, and then goes through it with Bruce and being like, this wasn't booked well. And then for Bruce to be able to go, yeah, in hindsight, it really wasn't going well. At the end of the day, none of the stories start with, we did it because we thought it was going to suck. You know what I mean? All the stories start with, well, we really thought it could work. You know what I mean? And then it turned
Right.
out it was garbage. So I think that like when something happens immediately on TV and people just go, this is poorly booked. Right? Well, when was the last time you fucking booked something? And how do you know what's happening next? Like, we don't know what's going on yet. Like, give it time to breathe.
Like we'll talk about it definitely because it was definitely a contentious thing on the internet that I saw from last night. But there was something that was very controversial that happened.
We can get into it now. We're all over the place anyway.
All
at
right.
this point.
All right.
Talk about
Whatever. Karrion Kross lost to Jeff Hardy in like 2 minutes. I can't see you right now, but I'm laughing very hard.
Yeah, I'm dancing.
Oh, I
was
just saw it on the
dancing
replay.
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure that's dancing? It looks like you're having a little bit of a stroke.
I probably a little both.
Okay.
If I had to venture,
But
a
he
guess.
lost in the IWC. Karrion Kross buried. WWE just does not know what to do with NXT talent. This is the worst call-up ever, which every call-up is the worst call-up ever.
They're never
That's
regaled
just
for
true.
sure.
That's nothing. Shinsuke Nakamura is buried right now. It's just
What?
Finn Balor's buried. It's just true. Hey, he was the worst call-up ever. Remember?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I would have to say also when Roman Reigns got called up, awful.
Awful. Seth Rollins buried.
Forget it. Kevin Owens done for. Sami Zayn
Charlotte
over.
horrible. I don't even know if
Trash.
she. I don't even know if she wrestled last night.
Yeah.
Wanna know why? Buried.
Buried and done for.
I think.
Let's see.
But
in the chat
in
real
the same
fast, I'm
way,
gonna catch
I
us
believe
up.
that you said this back in episode 1.
Go ahead.
That NXT caters to a whole different type of wrestling fan
Yes.
than Raw and SmackDown, and their audience is also. You said it today. Their audience is like a fourth of SmackDown, so less people watch NXT, and 4 people watch main event. So only 4 people knew that Karrion Kross had an entrance. I was talking to Derek today, and we said, man, do I not care about Karrion Kross, because without Scarlett and without that entrance, he is pretty boring. So I don't even care that he lost.
That's
but
the
also,
weirdest thing. I thought, if I'm being honest, I watched his entrance this time.
Okay.
I honest to God said out loud, this is good. This takes away a lot of the bells and whistles that always had me nervous to see him. When he came out in NXT, I thought it took me probably a month or 2 of watching his entrance to where it didn't bother me, because I was like, this guy is all entrance. He would come out, do 2 moves and leave. And I was like, this is all a theatrical entrance. And the first time Scarlett came out and lip sync to every single word, I was like, that is awful and off-putting. It's one thing to like sing along a little bit here and there because you see it, or like the fall and pray thing I was fine with. But like overall, I thought, how good is this? That they've taken away a lot of the fog. They took away Scarlett. So now when Karrion Kross comes out, looks serious and marches to the ring, he looks like someone you're paying attention to. You're not distracted by everything else around him. He's not an afterthought. He's oftentimes an afterthought in his own entrance.
Thought it was
If the only reason you like him is the entrance, then that's already a problem. That's an indication of a problem. If you say he's boring without his entrance, that means that there is an issue with the character and the in-ring work that you're not connecting to because you're so connected to the entrance. So get rid of the entrance and give you a chance to even get invested in the character.
I will watch the next time that he is on a main roster show, because who knows if he'll be on next week, because he's still the NXT champion. But I disagree with everyone who said that he was buried. Because first of all, you lost to Jeff Hardy, who is so over. It's not even funny.
Yes, he's still super over. You swear he's the champion now.
Right. I don't think I think Jeff Hardy is in the same boat of Randy Orton, where without the title, he might be more over.
Yes.
Like Randy Orton is killing it right now. And he's not even on screen, and he's killing it.
Yeah,
he's
still
so good.
active.
Randy Orton is also one of those people who's really funny without trying.
Yes.
That's just not who his character is, but Randy Orton, the person, very funny.
Yeah.
Let me let it out. If you saw him on Kurt Angle's podcast with Conrad Townsend.
Oh, pretty good.
But I don't connect with Karrion Kross at all. At all. But I don't think that he was buried at all. Because he didn't lose clean. Jeff had his feet on the ropes.
Not only did Jeff have his feet on the ropes, Jeff pulled his tights to get his feet on the ropes. He
Right.
did 2 things for leverage.
Right.
He double cheated.
Which don't cancel each other out, really. So he did pin him clean, I guess.
Yeah. 2 negatives make it positive.
It's true. And so, yeah, and minus one is 0. So really, he pinned him clean, which now I get why people are upset.
Here's the deal. This is why I love that people are upset by this. For one, the same people who talk about how much they don't like Karrion Kross, how boring he is, they wish he'd just get called up to go away, are the people screaming about how dare they do this to NXT. He's our champion. This is the NXT champion you're doing that to. This guy's legit. And I'm all like, fucking last week you talked about how fucking boring he was and you wanted Gargano to win.
Nah, he's still boring. He's still boring. Win or lose, he's boring as fuck.
Right? To you, which is fine, because I find him exciting. The thing
At least
is,
I'm
though...
consistent. The IWC is so inconsistent.
For sure.
Micah Pellegrini at Dying Foreman on Twitter. Very, very consistent with his views.
That's a good point. Good point. Let me see. I'm going to hit the chat real quick. Graham says The Office was made this decade in the 2020s, ? Amanda Jane says, here are some Young Bucks against the wrestlers now known as MSK. You know I'm not going to watch that, Amanda.
No one's going to watch that, Amanda.
There's
I'm
no
not going to
one
watch
that.
No, they were Generation Me then, I'm pretty sure, so that's not even the Young Bucks.
And they had their stupid fucking Ring of Honor names.
No, TNA.
Worse.
Right? It wasn't even Impact yet. We're not even going to talk about Slammiversary and Jay White appearing, which I'm mad about.
Yeah, no, we'll probably skip that one.
Yeah, it's fine. I get it.
I kind of
Jay
don't
White
care.
appeared.
Like, I get it.
I know that you don't care.
But it was like, I will say this with the Forbidden Door. I'm more interested in what the Forbidden Door has done for Impact than anything it's done for AEW.
Well, the Forbidden Door essentially goes through Impact. Like,
It doesn't. It stops at Impact.
No. It goes through Impact because everything that's happening on AEW has reference on Impact, but nothing about Impact is referenced on AEW.
Yeah, that's my point. That's what I mean. It stops at Impact. It's happening in Impact.
Mm-hmm.
AEW does their own AEW thing, but then Impact's all like, all this stuff is happening, and you're like, okay, well.
The Good Brothers, who are amazing right now, I think, doing some of their best work ever, even outside WWE, which I think they were criminally underused in WWE. They could have been. Ugh.
I agree they were underused there, but I think what they're doing now is appealing to the Beavis and Butthead audience. That's not to say I didn't really like Beavis and Butthead, but I was also 14 at the time.
Yeah, back in 1894, when Marsh was 14 years old, and television was still the medium of choice.
And the great Abraham Lincoln took seat.
Is dead at that point. I'll drink to Abe. I'll do it.
We're really good on numbers here. Let's see. Graham does say Shotzi and Knox called up 2 weeks ago. Buried. Proper says hello,
okay.
cheers.
They were okay. But they literally lost half of their names.
So what? So fucking what? So did I when I got on the show. I became Ref Marsh.
I think Shotzi Blackheart is such a cool name.
No, it's fucking lame.
All right. Well, whatever. Buried.
Blackheart? As soon as I heard Blackheart, I was like, come on, you fucking punk rocker, Hot Topic fucking nerd.
Okay, she looks like she's going to check me out at Hot Topic, though. So that makes sense.
That's my problem. But I think
you're saying only women can work at Hot Topic? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's the only ones they hire. It's like Hooters, but for goth.
I don't think that's it.
You don't think so? I have a feeling. No. But I actually thought when they dropped Blackheart, I actually liked that because I thought, you know what? She's punk rock enough. She doesn't have to have the emo last name.
I like Knox. I like the singular Knox. But maybe if it was just Blackheart. I just like the Blackheart part of her name. I think Shotzi. But
wasn't that Ciampa's thing? Yeah. Wasn't Ciampa the Blackheart of NXT?
He's Tommaso Ciampa.
The Blackheart. He had a shirt that said Blackheart on it and everything.
Sure.
And it's a fucking pirate name. I don't need a pirate.
And she's got the pirate thing going on. She got a tank. What's more pirate than that? A ship?
Yeah, it's pretty pirate. Let's see. Let's see. Cheers to Properist. Missing Ninja Jane says they took away the cool parts of Cross, but I'm used to Cross without that. Jeremy says Anderson and Gallows annoy me just by showing up on the TV. Justin says AEW is only working with Impact because they're working with NJPW. But is AEW even truly working with NJPW? They had Kenta on one episode, but it didn't happen there. They had Yuji Nagata one time. They've had the U.S. title with fucking Carl Anderson. That's Impact.
And tomorrow, Lance Archer in a Texas death match. That's going to be sick.
It's not, but it's also, again, not utilizing NJPW. It's almost like they just happen to have this title where, like, hey, we not only do they just not acknowledge it most of the time, but when they acknowledge it, so far 50-50 has been with non-NJPW talent. So I don't know that I buy that as a thing. I don't understand everything that goes into this Forbidden Door working together thing when they clearly aren't working together on equals.
I think it happening during COVID definitely screwed shit up.
Oh yeah,
because because Japan is in such a rough state with COVID, but they obviously want big names.
Yeah,
they obviously want big names. They want the Okadas. They want the Naitos. They want. I mean, they got Kenta. He's a pretty big name, but like they want.
Well, they got
the
Riho
Jay
back, so
she's not. That's racist.
That's who they brought back out of the fucking.
They brought
Japanese roster.
Yuka Sakazaki back.
I don't know. I don't know what just happened. Which one's that? Is that the one with the genie outfit or the little Final Fantasy 7?
No. Oh. Is Emily Sakura the one who's Freddie Mercury? I don't know, but she wrestled Penelope Ford.
Mercury.
No.
Yeah, no, the one that was with Penelope Ford, that was the one using like it's almost like a Final Fantasy 10 outfit.
Okay.
Let's see. Manager Jane says, exactly, Justin. Jeremy says, wasn't Owen Hart called the Black Heart? He was. I am not a nugget. He was the Black Heart. Let's see. Mess Manager Jane says, I'm sure there's bad feelings with NJPW and the Elite. I've heard mixed things, but I don't know. Let's see. Justin says, no, Impact is just AEW's way to have any association with NJPW. Impact is the side chick that gets little to no attention. All right. But yeah, also AEW is not working directly with NJPW either and is getting very little out of it too. Again, this is all a conversation we can have on Thursday. But as far as Cross goes, I didn't feel that bad that he lost because he lost to somebody who has a huge record of wins, accolades, championships. A guy who's easily a fucking legend. He will be a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. And he cheated on him to win. It also falls in line with what Samoa Joe's been calling him the last few weeks. He's calling him young champion. He's been saying, your skill is offset by your inexperience. He's been saying things about how he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just a young badass guy. And this kind of proved that point too. It was like he was on the main roster. He did his thing. He lost the match to a veteran who's like, I can cheat to win this and I will. Why not?
He's 36 years old. He's not young at all.
Who?
Karrion Kross is 36. Yeah.
Karrion Kross is 36 years old, but he's been wrestling for like 3 years.
And Samoa Joe is 42, so that's a little much.
But Samoa Joe's been wrestling for like 20 years. Karrion Kross got into the game late. He was in his 30s when he started.
Fair.
So he's a young champion because he's young in the business. He's inexperienced. That's what it's all about. When did Jeff Hardy start?
When he was 16.
I thought it was 15, but I'll buy 16. I don't care.
Well, he faced Scott Hall on Raw when he was like 16 years old. Is that we're talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're different by a year. He was 15 or 16. I don't know which.
Right. He was
an
old teenager.
Yes. He was mid to late teens.
Right. I'd say 16, but
yeah, sure, maybe so. I don't know. Jeff Hardy at this point is 69 years old, probably, if I guess.
Very close.
So close. He's almost 100. He's been wrestling for 93 years.
Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy has lived through 25 presidents.
Yeah, easily. I'm just saying.
And he's the younger of his brothers too.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about how old Matt Hardy is.
Well, we know how old he is. He wrestles for AEW now, so he must be old.
Whoa.
There's no middle age in AEW. There's teenagers and legends.
That's not true
There's
at all.
literal Hall of Famers and teenagers. children. Marco Stunt is 11 years old.
He's gonna hit his growth spurt soon, I swear.
He'll hit it. It's the in the chat real
Luchasaurus
quick.
is literally 67 million years old. So
Yes. Right?
they also have dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We don't know how old Chris. We don't
they're
know
either
how old.
literal dinosaurs or children. That's their age groups. Aaron in the chat does say Cross is younger than me, so he's a baby. Good point.
Boom.
He says,
Get the
and
fuck
he
out
goes,
of
Joe
here.
is older than me, so he's ancient. That's also
Oh
true.
my god.
No, that's true. The right age is wherever you're at.
So you are all very old.
Yes.
So
Graham
old.
does say 16. His first WWF match was against Razor Ramon on May 23rd, 1994. Graham says he was 16. So it turns out for the first time in ever, Micah was right on this one.
I'm right about a lot of things. If you want to check out how right I am, check me out on Specifically Devoid content.
That's not fucking
check it.
fair, dude. You look up the questions and the answers, and then you give them to us. So of course you're right. You're the one fucking mediating the game show.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter how you get the questions. It's if you can ask them and if you know the answers. You threw up a softball. You're asking somebody who just knows about stuff. This is not your wheelhouse, Marsh. I'm somebody who's had more than one episode.
You have had more than one episode, and I drink and I know things about wrestling specifically.
Maybe.
But I
Who
wasn't
knows?
bothered
You
by the
just
cross stuff, dude. I really wasn't. I felt like it was fine. I
Neither-
liked the
neither
idea of a
was
stripped down
I.
entrance. Like, I think the people who are fucking complaining about it are the same people who are still upset that Taz lost to Triple H on WWE Smackdown when Taz was the ECW champion. And people
I'm
are
mad
still
about
mad
that.
about it.
I'm mad about it. Don't worry about it.
See?
But I'm
You're
not mad about it. But I'm not mad about it because I don't like Karrion Kross. I think Karrion Kross is boring, so I don't care that he lost. I see NXT is the show that I watch the least, so I know the least about it. So this was almost my first time ever seeing Karrion Kross. I just don't care.
And you know
He's
what?
just so boring.
You're in the majority there. Most people have not watched NXT regularly
Oh.
in comparison to Raw or SmackDown. Most people who watch these shows don't watch NXT. And I think that it's these NXT extreme fanboys and girls
And
who love
other
NXT
people.
so much. Yeah, and non-binary. I think that they love it so much that they feel like there's this offensive thing to it. But at bottom line is just because it's your favorite doesn't mean it's A, the most important, or B, the most popular. Your favorite thing could be grossly unpopular. Your favorite thing doesn't fucking matter to most people. And that's okay.
My favorite WrestleMania is WrestleMania 23, and
Great
nobody
point.
likes that WrestleMania.
Producer lady, her favorite show, wrestling, every single week, without a doubt, every time, NXT UK. She's one of 3 people who watch it regularly. She never
There
misses
are
it.
more people who watch New Japan Strong than there are that watch. There's more people who watch Main Event than NXT UK.
Probably. And you know what? Every time I watch NXT UK, you know what I say? Holy shit, might be the best show on TV right now. It's incredible. The matches are phenomenal. My top 10 matches of the year so far list has 3 from NXT UK. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking crazy how good it is, but nobody's watching, so it doesn't matter. So fucking relax. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying about NXT. Just because it's your favorite show and you hate Karrion Kross anyway, it's not you. But
Yeah, but I'm
just 'cause it's-
consistent.
yeah,
I'm consistent. I'll be on this.
if it's someone's favorite show, it doesn't mean it's the most important show or the most popular show or anybody else is watching it but you.
Right?
You're a
The Big
fucking
Bang Theory
hipster
was
of wrestling. Relax.
The Big Bang Theory was TV's #1 comedy, and as a comedy connoisseur, I can tell you it was not the #1 TV comedy.
It was number 1. You're right. I remember that.
It was.
Because I remember
I have
watching it and waiting for the jokes.
My Instagram bio is quite literally wait. So you're telling me there's no more new episodes of TV's #1 comedy, The Big Bang Theory?
Yeah. There's no more.
It's true.
Graham's in the chat. He goes, how can you have more than one episode if this is episode 1? My brain can't comprehend the maths. Did we talk about a
Don't worry
secondary
about it.
episode?
No.
It could have been pilot. There's episode 1 and there's pilot.
Um,
Dude, let's
It's
burn
also
through some
math.
of this. It's also math.
it's also math. You live in
Nikki
America, Graham. You-
ASH winning the women's Money in the Bank match.
True. And she won it in a way that nobody thought that somebody could win it. She just climbed up.
She just climbed up the ladder and got it. So fucking
Nikki
good.
Cross, yeah, that was really funny, honestly.
I loved it because they were all up on top, and I liked. If you watch, my favorite facial expression in that moment is Natalya, because they're all kind of punching each other, and all of a sudden Nikki screams, "I got it!" and you see Natalya look over there, and her jaw just drops. Like, fuck! Like, how are we so stupid not to see that? Like, it was really good. But I thought it was fantastic, man. Nikki Ash, I'm 100% behind. I'm a huge fan of this Nikki, almost a superhero. She's so good to her fans. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you tweet something to her or about her or at her, she's likely going to see it and respond to it. She is so nice online. And I'm sure she's nice in person. Didn't we see her briefly at the backstage thing?
She was backstage and very shy.
She was super shy.
She just got called up and they were like, "Oh look, it's Nikki." She was like,
Yeah, she was like almost sheepish, like, and kind of waving. And then Alicia Fox walks over and like, hi! Couldn't have been happier. But yeah, Nikki Cross, super good. I did a drawing for her, put it up, and said she's already a superhero to me. And she made a whole fucking post about it. She goes, "That's it. I've already completed my training." You know what I mean? Because of this whole thing. So I was really happy. Just really happy for her. I thought it was dope. What'd you think of this match? I thought overall it was pretty fun. I liked the Alexa stuff, and I've seen people go back and forth on it, but I don't know, man. What'd you think?
I thought that this was very good. Wasn't my favorite Money in the Bank ladder match of the night, though.
Okay.
But
It wasn't spectacular in a lot of ways, but I thought it was... Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
I thought that this was the best women's Money in the Bank ladder match so far. Because I think anything obviously beats out last year's. I didn't like
Last year's was weird, and I'll be honest, the first one with the Ellsworth interruption, and then the redo on the Smackdown with a different Ellsworth interruption sits a little weird with me in general. So I feel like that almost kind of outdoes 3 of them to me.
And then there's just 2 left.
Exactly.
So it's already podium. Doesn't matter. And it's okay
Already
if
top
it's Sugiura
10.
bronze. Right?
Top 10 already, for sure.
I
I agree with you. This could be the best one. I loved the finish, and it's a different finish than we've ever seen. I don't think the men have even done a finish like that, where they're all on top of all the ladders.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. But keep going.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
usually
mean- sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's your show. I thought it was nice. I thought everyone kind of got their spots in. I wanted Liv Morgan to win. As I'm sure a lot of people wanted Liv Morgan to win. But
I'll be
I
honest,
think
dude.
that
It was
this-
hard to root against anyone in this match. If Naomi
I
won,
think
would
it
you have
was-
been that mad?
Yes, because Liv Morgan wouldn't have won. I wouldn't have been like mad. I would have been disappointed. I would say if it wasn't Zelina or Liv, I would have been disappointed.
Okay. Did you feel
but I'm
disappointed
okay
by
with
this?
Nick. What? No, I'm not disappointed in it.
Okay.
Because she doesn't have it anymore, so it's okay.
Well, for one, I think a lot of the crowd's behind Liv right now, and I think Liv has been doing better and better every time, and that's all you can really ask for them. You know what I mean? As they keep doing it, they get better. Because there's people you see where they just kind of seem to plateau, and Liv is definitely not on that plateau.
Oh no. No.
But neither is Nikki. And
No, I think that Nikki. I guess I'm more shocked because Nikki ASH is such a new character.
Yes.
That I think that nobody expected it, which made it good. Is that nobody expected it because it's such like it's only been like a month and a half at max that they've been doing this gimmick. So it's really impressive that they just kind of like strapped the rocket to her.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. But I think I agree 100%. My first thought too when she won it was like, wow. Nikki Ash is 3 weeks old. Maybe 4, like you said.
Right.
But Nikki Cross never would have won this.
It was a huge pop. I think if anybody won, it was going to be a huge pop. But
to be honest, like I said, I don't think there was anybody in this match that didn't have fanfare behind them. Zelina, Naomi. Well, I guess Tamina or Natalya might not have gotten that big of a pop, if I'm being honest.
I would have loved it if Tamina won. I would have loved it if Tamina won. The legacy continues.
The legacy, and she's a fucking powerhouse, so like you could believe that she could just blindside someone.
It's true.
You know?
It's true. I would have liked to see Shayna Baszler in this match. Didn't happen.
Oh my god.
I like Shayna
Poor
Baszler.
Shayna. Poor Shayna.
I like her. She wasn't in the match. It's okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about her on Raw. But overall, I like this match. I liked it a lot. AJ Almost Viking Raiders had some really cool spots. There's much to say about it.
As Derek said, the Viking Raiders came out to like almost deafening silence. It was weird.
I know, and they're so good.
They are really good. It is unfair how athletic they are for being such big guys.
Yeah.
Like big guys should not be able to move like that.
There's got to be something they can do for them, because like I 100% agree that for whatever reason the fans are just not generally behind them. Maybe part of it is before the fucking match they even showed all that goddamn bullshit with the Street Profits that took them for fucking ever to get through.
Well, like the axe throwing and the basketball stuff.
Yeah. Like why the fuck did you show that? Let's pretend it never fucking happened.
Yeah, why would you want to remind me of that?
Yeah, give that shit the Saudi Arabia treatment. Never happened. You know what I mean? Goldberg just had the title one day. What do you want from me?
Saudi Arabia is canon, so I have to count it.
But it's not canon. If you go back and watch any of the clips of Goldberg winning the title, there's never a second person in the ring, ever. Fucking when Bray won it off Seth, there's never a fucking showing of Seth. They just have a weird way of making it this like void where changes happen and no one knows why. Like but yeah, why would you bring that shit up? But they're so legit. They're such badasses. Producer was even saying though, she's tired of the Viking gimmick. And I was all like, well, it's kind of their actual lifestyle, which is the weird part.
They make it goofy. It's not like they make it like I'm a badass Viking. They come out and they're fucking bowling with Street Profits and they replay it.
Yeah, the goofy shit with Street Profits was awful.
That's what killed it for me.
Killed it for me too, to be honest. But they did this. They wore the same shit in fucking New Japan. Their gear was the same. Everything about them was the same. Their moveset's the same. Promo was largely the same.
Hi, J4Y 1985.
Hello.
UC.
I think the 4 is part of the J. Hold on. This is a puzzle. This is a puzzle. J, 1985, quality control. Quintessential communist. It's probably not right. No? All right. I'm just trying to crack it. There's a code here.
Graham's in the chat.
Graham saying NBA Finals are on right now. Try to get the crossover fans by showing the basketball.
It's true. It's true. Suns in 5.
What's the score right now?
It's fun to fun.
It's fun to fun.
Yeah, it's fun to fun. 58 all. Third quarter.
Really? Wow. What's the numbers on the teams in the series?
3-2 Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's got 3. They only need 4 to win, or 5?
4.
4. So if Milwaukee wins this, it's done.
It's true.
Fuck. Kevlar is somewhere screaming.
Kevlar's mad because he was supposed to watch this game in Phoenix, and he can't watch them win.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, cheers to Jay 1985, as
Yeah,
written
thanks,
by
Jay.
George Orwell.
As long as you don't
let's-
live in Delaware, you're cool in my book.
Yeah, you're all right. Let's see. Raw tag teams retained. Viking Raiders need a redo. Bobby Lashley versus Kofi. What a fucking brutal match that was, man.
That was wild.
Bobby just beat the shit out of Kofi for like 20 minutes.
How good is Kofi, though?
How good are both of them?
Well, Bobby Lashley's like 45 years old.
Yes.
So
Was it-
he should be good. He's also a legit.
Oh.
He's also a legit wrestler. So
He's a legit bad motherfucker who's in better shape than any of us will ever be. At an
I was
older
making a
age than
joke,
we'll
but
ever get to.
I was making a joke, but Bobby Lashley really is 45.
I know. The dude's a freak
That's-
in that way.
Unfair. He doesn't look 45 at all. He looks like he's gonna wrestle at WrestleMania 23 with Donald Trump in his corner.
Yeah. No, he looks like he's got another fucking 40 years to go. This dude's
Right?
fucking badass.
He's
he comes
like
off
Jeff
like a
Hardy.
legit badass.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the face paint, but I don't know how old Jeff Hardy is when he steps in the ring.
That's a good point. Mysterio, too.
Yeah, Dominic too. I don't know how old he is.
Dominic might be 11. He came from AEW.
He's Eddie
we'll
Guerrero's
talk about
son, so
Let's see. So there's Bobby Lashley and Kofi Kingston. There's nothing more to say other than I thought that it was like fucking wonderfully done. I even said earlier, same thing, was just how cool I think it is for representation sake. And I understand the irony of being just the fat white guy in a fucking living room doing a podcast. The idea that a bunch of young black kids can watch wrestling right now and see Bobby Lashley, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Big E, MVP, Keith Lee, all in the title picture, all in top level main event scenes. Like, I think that's so fucking cool because not only is it just a black man there, it is such a wide array of personalities and body types. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it just seems
like
like
Kofi,
such
like you said, Xavier Woods is like fucking ripped, but next to Bobby Lashley, no, he isn't.
dude. And when Keith Lee stood next to Bobby, it was fucking alarming. I was like, Keith Lee is twice the man of Bobby. Like, what the fuck?
Remember when he stepped into the ring against Lesnar at the Royal Rumble? And it was just
yeah.
like, holy shit, Keith Lee is huge if he makes Brock Lesnar look like that.
Yes. Oh my God. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But yeah, the Lashley Kofi thing, for me, the idea that a whole series of young black kids can be watching wrestling right now and identify with so many strong role model types in that way, I just think is so cool because that's just not been the case for so long. You know what I mean?
It's very nice.
Yeah. And to boot, they're all fucking incredible competitors. So there's no like quote
There's no
token
Ahmed
in any of
Johnsons.
this. Yeah. There's no just someone push for the sake of it. It's all like, wow, these guys are all fucking incredible. Let's see. Let's get through it after that. Unless there's something else you want to say about that one?
No, let's keep on going.
We'll keep on going. Kofi got cheered and Bobby got booed, and that's all good. Charlotte Flair beat Rhea Ripley, so thus solidifying that Rhea Ripley is just a shitty wrestler who has no business here. And Charlotte Flair is, as Corey Graves seems to try to convince us every fucking time, the only woman wrestler that matters. That was the story I got out of this. What'd you get?
I think I said it last week, but they really don't know. I think they obviously had a plan, as we'll talk about later, or maybe now, because the show's all over the place. It's only our first episode, so who knows? But, do they really need to keep racking up Charlotte's title wins just so she can like surpass Rick? She's like a 13-time champion.
Here's the deal. She went into this match saying she was about to get 14. She leaves the match and says she got 11. They tacked on For one, it's Steiner Math is their announcers. Two, they tacked on when she won the NXT title at Rumble, when she went to Rumble and said, I want to go for the NXT title, and she won it at Mania for no fucking reason because it was stupid. I fucking hated it. Whatever. I'm not trying to be
It
negative.
legitimized NXT as a third brand.
No, it fucking didn't. Oh my god. So they go into that from 9. When she won it, she was at 9. She wins it, and they said she's at 11. Because
See, NXT is so good that
they counted NXT twice and the Divas Championship once.
the Divas Championship I get, not the NXT.
I don't get the Divas Championship.
Well, she was NXT champion when she was in NXT originally in like 2014, 2015.
Right. But so was all the other women who fucking came up. Bayley doesn't get the count for her NXT championship. Sasha doesn't get the count for her NXT championship. Charlotte's the only one who's getting the count for the NXT. Here's the other deal.
It's not real.
Charlotte goes into WrestleMania 30? Was it 33?
Who's she against?
I think it was 33 where Charlotte goes in with the Divas Championship, and it was
32.
to create the Women's Championship. So she went
32.
in as the defender and wins the match and gets bestowed the Women's Championship, which later became the Raw Women's Championship. And they counted it as 2 separate reigns, even though she didn't lose the match that she went in with the championship as.
She won a different
That's
title.
why I have a problem with Diva. What?
She won a different title.
She didn't win a different title. It fucking just formed.
2 different titles.
To a different name. It was the same title. She's a champion when she walks in. She's a champion when she leaves. Why does she get a secondary reign? Thus begins my new title reign? No. Same title reign. Count the days more. Don't fucking give it 2 separate times. I hate you, Micah. So
You
right
can hate me
here,
all you want. You're never gonna hate me as much as I hate me.
good luck. So here's the deal. She walks in saying, I'm going for 14, leaves and wins and goes, I'm glad I'm at 11 now. And I'm like, so all of a sudden you drop NXT?
Minus, you know.
Yeah. It's 33 and a third chance of winning this match. This title's going to be 33 and a third. It's
Yeah,
200%.
You know, he actually lost that match. Can you believe it?
Well, he was probably confused going into it.
Steiner has a hard time parking his car, so it's cool.
I just think it was such garbage, and all it did was show one more time where Rhea is not good. Rhea has not done anything notable since she lost at Mania 2 years ago.
1 year ago?
Over a year ago, because she just won this one at Mania. at
Over
this
a
last
year ago,
Mania.
and 2 years are different times.
2 Manias ago.
1.5 years. I'll give you that, but
That makes sense.
that's pushing it. I'd say 1.25.
I don't want to give you that full half, but I'll do it.
I'll give you half of the half.
Yeah. But she loses to Charlotte at Mania, and then that's it. She was never the same again. She had one good match with Raquel in NXT after that, and that was it. And she lost it, too. She was in a good match that she lost.
The triple threat with Io and Charlotte at,
I know.
in your house.
Yeah.
That was good.
She lost that match, too, and it wasn't that great.
You know what? She's allowed to lose matches. Want to know why?
She loses all of them, is the thing.
Exactly. Well, that's not true because she beat Asuka,
Yeah. Who
match
Asuka was
was
billed as a goof.
and that was not a good match.
No, not a very good match.
I was really upset that was a bad match. They don't have good chemistry.
They don't. It's weird. They just don't mesh. And so here's the deal. Charlotte wins again, thus solidifying that no one gives a shit about anyone but Charlotte, and
It's
that
true.
Rhea's just bad.
I
And
thought
then-
that Becky was going to come out. I was just like, this has to be building to Becky versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. Like, there's no other way.
Right?
Why would they give Charlotte the thing? Why wouldn't they want? It's the whole story is that like Rhea Ripley can't beat Charlotte. Is that what the story they're trying to do, or is it that Charlotte just can't lose?
Exactly. Fucking exactly.
Because like both of those stories, like also, I know I said this last week on episode 1, but again, who's the face? I have no idea. I have no idea who I'm supposed to cheer because I don't like either of them.
No. And
They're
I heard a
both
terrible
so
wrestling
unlikable.
take today
Oh,
about this
is it
match.
from my friend Bishop?
Is not from Bishop.
So it's not
Bishop, I
terrible.
think, is recording now. He'll probably drop something shortly, so check out Type of Wrestling Takes podcast. But if he wasn't listening, he ought to have heard this one. I heard, in fact, I'll go ahead and say it because I'm a big fan, but Sam Roberts put out a podcast after Money in the Bank, and he talked about the amazing match that this was, the incredible crowd work of Charlotte. He even goes on to say that as the crowd was chanting, that Charlotte gives the crowd the finger in what he said was a genius maneuver to solidify herself as a heel. Because it was, oh, I don't care that you're enjoying the match. I don't like you people. And then Rhea's more or less on the other side saying, I do like you people. I want you to enjoy the match in that one maneuver. What he's fucking not paying attention to, I guess, was that the crowd wasn't just chanting, we want Rhea, or this is awesome. The crowd was literally chanting, we want Becky. So much that Charlotte gets frustrated and flips off the crowd. I think she lost it. I don't think she was trying to solidify that she's the heel. When I watch it, I go, oh, she's mad because she can't get the crowd to stop thinking about someone else. And it wasn't until fucking 10 minutes later that the crowd chanted, this is awesome, because Rhea didn't lose. It wasn't this is awesome because the match was so incredible. It was this is awesome because Rhea kicked out of natural selection and we don't want Rhea to lose.
From the top
It's
rope.
awesome that Rhea didn't lose. They booed when Charlotte won. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, it was the natural selection from the top rope, which I thought was cool.
Yes. It was a good move. And everyone thought it was it. Everyone thought it was over. So when it wasn't, when Rhea kicked out, they said, this is awesome. Because they liked Rhea not losing. Not because Charlotte had them in the palm of her hands. That's the part I don't fucking get when I see people talking about the genius of all this. And I'm watching it from probably a base level where I'm going, oh, the crowd's chanting for Becky. She gives them the finger because she's mad that she can't win over the crowd. Oh, she can't get the win and they say this is awesome, is not, look at, she's got them in the palm of her hand. She's controlling the audience. They're so happy here. No, they're happy because Rhea didn't lose it and they thought that they were going to give it to Charlotte again. Charlotte wins and they boo. Wasn't like, what a great heel she is. She solidified herself as a heel. It's like, no, the fucking crowd is sick of you. Still, after all this time. That's what I'm seeing. That's my interpretation. Go ahead.
I think it's very telling that WWE pushes Charlotte the most, and yet Becky is still the bigger star, both in mainstream and in wrestling.
Dude, we looked at it last night. So Charlotte last night said that stupid thing when they were chanting, we want Becky. She goes, she's home breastfeeding. Fuck off. And Becky tweeted out, I'm home breastfeeding and I'm still the most over person in the whole division. Becky's tweet, at the time we looked at it, was at 29,000 likes. Charlotte's tweet, which was an hour before, that was something. Oh no, we'll talk about the one before it. She like the one that she had that night was at like 3,000. The one she had before that was her in workout clothes flexing at 9,000. Just from a
Both
metric
those
standpoint,
combined doubled, still are less than Becky's tweet.
Exactly.
It's at 48,000 now.
48,000 on Becky's.
Becky Lynch is also a Twitter god. She is amazing at social media.
She's incredible at it.
But that's what I'm
The
saying
only
is
thing
that,
she's
like,
better at than wrestling is tweeting.
But what I'm saying is that like they push Charlotte as like this unstoppable monster.
Yeah.
And yet Becky's still over, and she hasn't been there in over a year. And Charlotte took 3 months off, and everyone was like, "Thank God that Charlotte won't be on television for a little bit."
Yeah. You know who also is breastfeeding? Her sister-in-law, Lacey Evans. Just kidding.
She walks like a lady, and she talks like a lady.
Yeah. New stepmom, I meant. But let me hit the chat real quick. Anything else you want to say about Charlotte and Rhea? Am I way off in my interpretation of how I heard the crowd?
I wish we had not talked about this match. That's how much I don't want to talk about this match.
All right. Yeah.
Not that they really should care more about the Raw Women's Championship when WWE has the best women's roster in any company right now. And the Raw Women's Championship is such an afterthought, which is ridiculous because that used to be the best title. That used to be the best title 5 years ago when it was just Sasha and Charlotte trading it. That used to be the best title on WWE, and now we don't like either of the people in the match. That's how far it has fallen.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe we'll talk about an update on it in a little bit. Stay tuned.
I'm going to go back a little bit on the... Yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to go back in the chat just a little bit. Aaron says $3 to $2. This one I want to go back to because we did kind of just skim by the Bobby stuff, so we'll talk about this now anyways. But Graham does say, glad Goldberg is back, so there is one wrestler that is older than me. So yeah, on Raw, Bobby Lashley beats the shit out of Keith Lee, which we'll get to, but then... MVP and Bobby Lashley are in the ring like I'm a bad motherfucker, and then all of a sudden there's the sparklers, there's the fire extinguisher smoke, there's the crowd, Goldberg, and fucking Goldberg comes out, gets real close to Bobby Lashley, nose to nose, puts his tongue on the cheek of Bobby practically, and says, "I'm next." And then that's kind of the whole segment. It was weird. But Goldberg back to face Bobby Lashley. The only thing that bothers me about this, if I'm being honest, is I really wanted Goldberg to come back and get his win back on Drew McIntyre, just beat the shit out of Drew McIntyre in one match. Like when he did with Brock Lesnar. I wanted him to just spear and bloody up Drew and get a quick win on him and then move on and never revisit it. But here we are, Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley, probably coming up on SummerSlam for the world title. What do you think about this?
Well, as I've said countless times on my channel, they don't know what to do with Goldberg without the title, because the one time they did with Dolph Ziggler, it was
hysterical.
Didn't do well, I guess.
It's fantastic. But
he's lost two championship matches in a row, and just gets a title shot. Like, come on, what's that shit?
That doesn't bother me.
He lost his last title match. He lost for that title.
Yeah.
So who cares? I think
it's a big money match, and I'll tell you, they proved it with MVP. So Bobby Lashley's like trying to get in the face of Goldberg, and he's like, "No, fuck this dude. Fuck you, dude. I'm gonna fuck you right now. I'm gonna show you I'm hard. I'm gonna show you how hard I am, dude. I'm so hard right now." Because there was a whole thing before with Kofi where Kofi was saying Bobby's soft, and he goes, "I swear to God, I'm not soft. Touch me, dude. I'm so not soft right now. Put your hands on me. See how soft I am. I'm not soft." So you got Goldberg being like, "I'm next," and Bobby's like, "I'd love to fuck you next," and MVP's like, no, let's not do that. No. Gets in the way of him, and he's all like, "You way hard. You're so hard, dude. Just stay back a little bit." And so he was holding him back, and it gave that big fight feel of save it for the ring. Don't let this happen. Save it for the pay-per-view. We'll make money when the fight happens. Don't do it now. MVP being the business manager side of things. We'll make more money if you don't touch him now. If you touch him now and he touches how hard you are, it changes everything.
Stop.
What? I'm just explaining the story.
You're not.
I am. He's like, "Look, Bobby, you're throbbing, you're hard, I get it." What? And he's like, "The overall girth of Goldberg's so big right now, let's fucking keep it separate." You know what I mean? We'll get there. We will get there. You guys will clap. You know what I mean? But it gave it that big fight feel of Goldberg's such a name. He can come in and just challenge whoever the fuck he wants and get a title shot because it's that much money on the table. Like if McGregor says, hey, Mayweather, we've never even been in the same company. Let's have a fight. And people go, I'd pay $15 million to see that. And then it happens. You see what I'm saying?
I did. I'm about $13 million still in debt from that fight 4 years ago. So
Not my greatest investment of all time, but is what it is.
hey, it lasted 10 rounds. It lasted a little longer than I thought. So, I mean, money's well spent, I guess.
Yep, heard that before.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. But overall, do you? I mean,
I guess I just
go ahead.
Yeah, I just guess I don't give a shit about Goldberg in 2021 anymore. Mostly because it's not 1998. Like, I think it's shocking that people are like, Goldberg's not a good wrestler when Goldberg has never been a great wrestler. Like, Goldberg has never been a work rate. He's literally built his streak on squash matches. And it was amazing. But it was also 25 years ago.
He's so good, he retired Bret Hart. Sorry, I was just throwing that out there.
He almost killed the Undertaker, which is hard to kill somebody who's already dead. But
he's almost killed most of our favorites. But the thing about
who
Goldberg,
all suck, by the way. Your favorites suck.
Oh yeah. But the thing that's weird about, to me, Goldberg, like you said, they always put him in these world title pictures, where to me, my favorite thing that Goldberg's done in the past 10 years was his Dolph Ziggler program. Because it was crazy, because it was kind of goofy, because at the same time, there is star power to Goldberg. So having him come out and spear and jackhammer Dolph Ziggler a few times, and Dolph Ziggler getting on the mic and talking some shit and getting some more, that's entertaining. To me, I loved it. And it wasn't about a championship. There was no stakes. It was just, hey, man, I'm not a little bitch like you think I am. And then Ziggler being like, I think you are a little bitch. And then just getting fucking punked out. It's funny. It's fine. It's a let me up match. It's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? I think the perfect spot for Goldberg. Which one was that?
The Brock one, where he just squashed Brock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do stuff like that. Give him one-on-ones with random people who are just on the up or on the down or something. Like,
Can you imagine?
I don't think he needs to be around a title for me to be excited about it. Like, I'm going to SummerSlam, and the idea that I'm going to see Goldberg wrestle, pretty cool. I'm happy about that on a level. But do I really think it needs to be for a world title against fucking Bobby Lashley? No. I'd have been happy with him in the ring with like Sami Zayn or some shit.
I would love for like Goldberg versus Humberto Carrillo, and he just like kills Humberto Carrillo.
Right? Just let him take someone out like a Tozawa for no reason. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, him versus Omos?
Oh, that'd be crazy. But
him versus AJ?
Actually, that would be fun.
I would love that.
Would be fun.
They were in WCW at the same time. They can write that story. That's a story there.
And I think AJ could have a lot of fun with it. So
Right?
I agree that I don't think that Goldberg with Bobby Lashley for the world title is the necessity of it. I also agree with the idea that, yes. And I agree that Goldberg's a big enough name that you can build that and it's going to look good, and people who don't watch all the time are going to say, I want to see this. But the most entertaining Goldberg is when a title's not on the line. So I can be fine with
like,
that.
Should we talk about the other return or no? Not yet. Because it kind of parallels this. We haven't parallel. It parallels.
Let's not yet.
Okay.
Let's
leave it to
let's
that.
do. Let's see. We're gonna get right there. Let me see.
We gotta do some more money in the bank, huh?
Graham says standards in math in America is awful. Yeah. No, our math is bad here. That's why I don't know numbers.
So
Aaron
I
says
pronounce
you're
it
supposed to cheer Real
mathematic,
Becky.
singular. So
Yeah, mathematique.
yeah.
Graham does say we need a Solheim Cup for wrestling. The fuck happens in Europe? The Europeans with Nikki and Becky would be awesome from my perspective. The fuck is he talking about?
I'm just saying.
He's like making shit up right now, dude. He goes, any blind viewer might be confused by that if there are literal quotes.
What?
I must have done something with quotes.
We've also been talking for like 10 minutes without referencing the chat, so I don't know what the chat is talking about.
Yeah, we're behind.
The chat is in
that.
front of us.
That's my bad. My bad. And then Graham does say Marsh, LOL. I think that's in reference to me saying that Goldberg retired Brett. But the hard talk? Blind viewer might be confused by that if there are literal quotes. Oh,
that makes more sense.
For talking about all the hard stuff. Yeah. No, that's what he said. He's like, I'm hard.
So, also, so should we move on to the Money in the Bank match?
Yes. So the Money in the Bank match.
So
ahead.
good.
Say everything you want on it.
So fucking good. This is other than WrestleMania 24, which if you go to specifically devoid.com/articles, you can read about why that's the best WrestleMania of all time. Other than that, I think this was the best Money in the Bank ladder match ever. I thought it was so good. I thought even Ricochet was good.
Even Ricochet. Of course he's good. It's a ladder match. That's his thing.
John Morrison, amazing. Doing all that parkour shit with the ladder. That was awesome. Nakamura wasn't in it for a long time, which I thought was weird.
Keep going.
And
What'd you think about Big E winning?
I thought it was awesome, man. I thought this was really cool that Big E won. I thought the big ending from the top of the ladder.
Oh my
god. Or the mid of the ladder, near the top. About
that was real close to the top. It was close.
Yeah.
It was high up. Here's the thing. I could have sworn, and I am an encyclopedia of knowledge that I never make up and always regulate correctly. I'm pretty certain Big E said in one of their New Day podcasts that he is not a fan of heights and doesn't like ladder matches. The idea that he was in this match at all, I remember feeling like it was a little weird. I was like, I could have sworn he said he doesn't like to do ladder matches. He doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to climb up there. For him to get up that high and big ending all over Seth Rollins like that, and then get back on a ladder and do it again? Fuck. Dude, how strong are you to just fucking hoist up Seth Rollins?
Right. He's so big.
And then, oh my God.
Also, all those RKOs Riddle was hitting was so fucking awesome.
Yes.
I'm really glad Drew McIntyre didn't win. I was really afraid that he was going to. So when he got taken out by Jinder, I was actually so relieved.
Yeah, that was my greatest fear. Was Drew McIntyre might win this fucking match. I will say, had Drew McIntyre won, I think the clever bit would have been keep him with the briefcase, but keep the title on Lashley and have some sort of weird thing where he cannot cash in on Lashley, so you can get like a long story of him trying to get other people to beat Lashley. I would have accepted that as kind of a weird thing that's interesting and something that's never been done.
Which parallels the way that Lashley won the championship, a deal with Money in the Bank, but it's like the reverse. So
exactly.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm good. And Bruce Pritchard watches. I appreciate it all the time. He's clearly always listening. Bruce, big fan. But I would have accepted that. Yeah, friend of the show, Bruce Pritchard, for sure.
I actually went to the event a couple weeks ago, and Dr. Tom Pritchard, was the special referee of the main event with JT Dunn and AC Romero.
Fuck, man, that'd have been great.
Oh my God, dude, it's so good. He was also like the Knights like commissioner or general manager, but like they didn't. Dude, I mean, it was an indie show, so like that didn't matter.
Yeah, dude. But between you and me, off air, I've considered taking the Tom Pritchard course that he does out in Knoxville just to experience it. Not because I think I'd be a wrestler, but just to experience it and be able to pick his brain a little bit here and there. Because that dude's amazing. When Vince McMahon, who has infinite resources, realizes he has to train to become a wrestler, and he goes, well, Tom Pritchard's obviously the person who's going to train me, you have to listen to the person that Vince McMahon thinks is the greatest wrestling trainer of all time. Because Vince could have had literally anybody in the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did like a seminar for like the wrestling school, the local wrestling school. And
So
then
dope.
it was an indie event.
Just dope. Anyways, back to Money in the Bank.
It's true. Good for Biggie.
Really cool for Big E. I'm really excited about that. I'm not sure what it looks like long term. I don't know if he holds it for a while, if he doesn't. I don't know when he cashes in.
Could you imagine if he cashes in on Bobby in front of Kofi and then Kofi's gutted?
I mean, that'd be funny. But I do think that...
I don't want the New Day to break up. I just think they have...
Not at all.
I don't think that they're ever going to break up because they're so good together. But I'm not sure if it would be like a revenge thing. I'm not sure if like maybe Kofi's a little jealous. Maybe he takes on Big E one-on-one and like a friendship thing.
No, I don't want it. I know that there's a lot of people talk about like, oh, the Big E turn and all that. I don't want it. I don't want it at all.
I don't think
know
Big
some
E
people
can
are
be
talking
heel. He can't be heel.
He
He's
could
too
be.
funny.
I think he could be by stop being funny. People will start booing him because he's not being funny. But I also don't have. I have zero desire to see New Day break up. I also have zero desire to see Dominic turn on his dad, which I've heard a narrative of time and time again. Oh, when's he gonna turn? I don't fucking need that. He can just break off on his own. He doesn't have to do that. But Lashley, Big E has said a number of times his dream match is against Goldberg. And we are dangerously close to that.
Oh my god.
So for the sake of
Goldberg actually didn't say that he would. Goldberg didn't say that he was going for the title. He just said he was going for Lashley.
he said I'm next. What do you fucking think he means?
Well, they didn't tell me what they meant. I watched the television show and what's there.
But he's next.
Right.
And the thing we know about both those dudes are so hard right now.
Okay.
What? That's Look, if Goldberg gets in your face,
I'm pretty sure there's a hard limit that you can say on Twitch.
we're really?
Dangerously. No, I don't go on Twitch. What am I, a nerd? Thank you for everybody that's watching on Twitch.
I have no idea how it works. If you want to join the chat, derail the show, twitch.tv/wrestlingontherocks, where you can tell us if we've hit the hard limit.
Oh, hitting the hard limit.
Yeah, we hit it hard every time. So the thing is we know that Goldberg is hard. We know that Bobby Lashley is certainly not soft, which would make him hard. And we know that...
Doesn't mean that he's hard necessarily. It just means that he's not soft. You could be not soft and also not hard at the same time. You could be in the middle. You could be
I don't think Bobby
equidistant
Lashley
between
could be in the middle of that, no.
Well, he's not
Just my
soft.
hunch.
You can obviously see that he's not soft. You can see the veins.
Yes, you can. Yeah,
But is he
Vascular.
hard is the question. I guess we're gonna have to find out next week.
we'll find out. We will find out. Here's the weird thing I thought of when I was watching the end of the match. Well, for one, the big ending again, fucking incredible.
Phenomenal.
But two, and how good was that between Seth and Big E? Seth trusting Big E like that, Big E being that fucking strong that he can make it work. The fact that they didn't hit the ladder at any point, it was flawless. But when I saw Big E up there fucking shaking the ladder, part of me thought, in a really kind of sick way, how funny would it be if someone was up there celebrating their win and falls off and like breaks a leg or some shit? You know what I mean? Like, not really. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want anyone to get hurt. But the ladder was shaking so much. I was like, oh my God, can you imagine if he fell off and his leg got caught?
Pretty funny.
It'd be terribly funny. It'd be awful and gut-wrenching and kind of fucking funny.
And cut busting.
Yeah.
But my other favorite spot of the night was John Morrison using the dripstick to knock Nakamura off of the ladder. I thought that was great.
Oh my God. Are you a fan of the dripstick?
I didn't like... I think that it's funny to an extent. I don't like it when Miz just like interrupts a match to dripstick.
Yeah.
Maybe you're saying I think that I don't know. That's just me, but I found that here it was really effective and it made sense. At least they built up that the dripstick exists. They didn't just like use the dripstick once. Like they built up the power of the drip.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Yes. In this instance, Morrison squirting in the face of Nakamura with his
Can we
stick
talk
of
about
drip.
how hard that he squirted Nakamura?
He squirted him hard.
That was a pretty hard squirt.
It got in his eyes. He fell off the ladder for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're talking
It was
about the
pretty
match.
wet afterwards.
He was.
Did you not
so
watch
wet.
the match?
I don't know. She must not have watched the match. She's like,
He drenched him with his squirt.
he drenched him. He squirted on him so good. So I'll give you that it made sense here. It made sense. America's Most Wanted would squirt in the face of Shinsuke and knock him off the ladder. But for the most part, I'm not a fan of that whole thing. But I mean, maybe I'm supposed to boo it. Maybe I'm getting worked. It's hard to
You're
say.
getting worked. Could you imagine if the heel does something that you don't like? So you don't like it. Isn't that what you say all the time? Ridiculous.
I say it when it's applicable.
Of course.
Graham
applicable.
does say, if WWE starts calling the valets fluffers, I will totally lose it. You guys are dicks. Yeah, I would never say something like that. Anything else you want to say about that ladder match?
No, that was it. I just want to talk about John Morrison squirting, but
Oh, yeah. John Morrison is a squirter for sure. At the end of the night... What? At the end of the night, we did end up with Edge. I've been speaking of Edge all night, as far as I can tell. Against Roman Reigns. What? Reigns and edging in the main event. Yo, Robinson took a bump on the knee, which looked serious. I loved Seth Rollins' interaction here. How he came out, kicked Edge right in the head. He's like, fuck you, dude. He came back a second time even. I loved that because it didn't occur to me that he actually would interfere.
What I didn't like is that Seth Rollins said like I want next, like Edge stole my spot. So does he not think that he can beat Edge, who's 75 years old?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's twofold, right? It's one, I don't know if I could beat Edge because he's 109 years old, been lost in the wilderness for decades, and he probably guts a bear with his bare hands.
Right.
But two, you don't deserve to be here because this was my spot, so I'm not going to let you get that win. You're not going to get that satisfaction of winning. You don't get the winner's purse. You fucked me over by taking my spot. You don't get to win. You know what I mean?
Right. So, what did you think about the match? Because I want to talk about one thing in the match that kind of ruined it, but it wasn't anybody's fault.
I didn't have any problems with the match, so you can go ahead and just take over. I'll just say I liked the whole thing. I liked the pacing. I liked all of it.
So Lil Nate gets bumped, right?
His knee blows out, yeah.
Edge hits a spear, and then the people chant like one, like Edge goes for the pin, and people chant like 1, 2, and Roman like actually kicks out, and I think that's because he hasn't been around fans.
Yeah.
So like that's like a weird thing to hear. But funny, he actually did kick out, and I was just like, it took me out a little bit. Just a little bit. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. The fans were doing what the fans do. The wrestlers were in the positions.
The chat right now, Graham does say, for anyone who's just joined us, his wrestling talk, by the way, 100%. When I talk about edging and hard and moist and squirts, it's all wrestling. But I think that it's a little bit deeper than that, if I'm going to be honest with you, Micah. If I can go deep into you. What I was thinking was in regards to Roman kicking out at the crowd count, is I think there's an innate part of the character of Roman Reigns that would kick out even if the crowd's counting because he doesn't want that doubt, right? He's proving to himself, even to the crowd, there's not a ref, and he still couldn't get me down. because the amount of times that the crowd has chanted 3, 4, 5 and done the whole thing, because it's all like we're trying to show that this, like, the crowd is literally trying to tell the rest of the audience out there that he
There's a
had
visual
it
pin.
won.
Yeah.
Yes. Roman kicking out at the crowd count of 2 is the character Roman saying, "Nuh-uh, no one counts me out."
I think it was a mistake. I don't think it was that deep, but
Oh my God. Can't believe you. You don't accept poetry when you see it.
I don't think it was poetry. I think it was a live show, and
Could've
Joanna Wahi fucked up. My bad. I'll say it.
Or like you
Amazing.
said, you could have just heard the 3 count and been like, "Oh, better not be down for this one."
Yeah, could you imagine if he actually did get pinned? Like, what would
Yeah.
they do?
Yeah, he's like, "Whoops." Dude, what did you think about Seth's interaction here? Seth's involvement.
Definitely. Could we see another triple threat between Edge, Rollins, and Reigns?
No. I think
No?
not. No.
I think we will see. I think we're getting Edge and Rollins at SummerSlam then.
Me too.
It's a huge match. Huge match.
Be enormous.
Because if you
It's a
remember,
girthy card.
if you remember, in 2015, Seth tried to kill Edge,
Yes.
and they did talk about that. They brought that up, which I was
Yep.
shocked. They brought
Yep.
that up. Continuity, amazing. So
Long-term storytelling.
accidental, because I don't think they knew
There's
that
no
Edge was coming
such
back
thing.
then. I don't think
Yeah,
they knew
but
that Edge
they-
was coming back.
Doesn't matter. All long-term storytelling is referring back to something else. If you watch fucking Family Guy, it's long-term storytelling because all it is nostalgia jokes. All
I
right?
don't watch Family Guy. I have a life.
I've never seen it. I would assume.
So you've never seen it, and you're just making assumptions based off of like YouTube clips you've seen?
I've seen like 4 or 5 episodes, maybe. I didn't watch
I've
it.
never seen it, and I've seen 4 or 5 episodes. They're not the same thing. So what are you, a liar one way or the other?
Yeah, both ways.
Hear that, everybody? Marsh goes both ways.
But as
Anyways.
far as I think you're right. I think we get to Seth and Edge at SummerSlam. We got Cena, Roman.
And like a
we'll
no
talk
DQ
about.
match. I think that's like an easy no DQ.
There's a number of ways I think they could handle that with a number of stipulations, and all of which I think I'm okay with. I can't think of a stipulation outside of perhaps a ladder match that I would say is bullshit. I think 100%
guess.
of the other ones. TLC, I think I'd be fine with. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I mean, like there has to be something above the ring.
oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, as long as they're not suspending something above the ring,
Right.
I think that I'm okay with whatever stipulation they get.
That would be
And I
cool,
think at
though,
the
if they
same
were in
time-
TLC.
You know what they should do? They should do another greatest wrestling match ever. It is fucking raining over here, guys. We might lose everything. You still with me though, Micah?
I'm here.
It's storming real hard out here. So
I can't
we'll
see you, but I'm assuming whenever you're silent, I just don't know because I can't see Marsh.
That makes sense. And your audio is so crisp that, yeah, when you're not talking, there's no dead air, so I have no idea. But I think we do have Seth and Edge at SummerSlam. We end up with Roman Cena. We end up with Bobby Goldberg. This is the girthy SummerSlam we got coming up.
And we might have Becky Charlotte.
There's no reason
Finn
for that.
Sammy.
Finn Sammy. Yep. Oh, my
Usos
God. dude.
Mysterios, I bet.
So fucking good.
AJ Nomos
so-
versus Undisputed Era. Who knows?
So we had Roman and Edge. We had Seth come out and get
All right,
involved. Roman gets the win. He holds up the mic and says, "Acknowledge me, y'all bitches. I'm gonna fuck every one of you."
Just to
And
say
then-
one more time, I didn't enjoy when Rollins came. Not a big fan.
You didn't?
No. When he came, I was really upset.
Why?
I don't think it was jokes aside, I just wanted to see Roman. I think it would have been better if Roman beat Edge, just straight up, just because Edge had the family's like number for the last month.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it would have been more impactful. Not that Roman needs it, because Roman's obviously the best character in wrestling right now. But
And he's super impactful already. The reason I don't have a problem with it is because, like, I think the thing that people
that's
lose
your main
sight
event.
of,
That's the main event of your first show back, and you want it to be like a not clean finish.
it was clean in a way. It was not clean in another way. But the reason I don't have a problem with that is because I don't think storytelling, and I don't think good storytelling, more importantly, necessarily needs to have a definitive end, because if you want the story to continue, sometimes you need a little ambiguity. And I think that when you do a shitload of clean finishes, you have nowhere to go, because it's been easily established that these people are better than those other people every time. So I think that having a little of ambiguity, a little interference here and there, a little ref disturbance, a little someone getting involved when no one was looking, allows enough ambiguity where you can get a clean win and say, look, this guy was better at the end of the day, while still having a little bit of a question mark of, but was he really, and could we have a rematch because of it? Yes, we could have a rematch because of it. And it ups the stakes. Well, next time maybe we'll do an ODQ. Maybe next time we'll do it in a cage. Maybe next time we'll do it. Like, you up the stakes.
But I don't want to see Edge and Roman again. I've already seen that.
You saw an iteration of that. You
I
don't
saw
like
two
rematches at
iterations
all,
of it.
ever?
I saw two.
You saw a triple
two,
threat? No. You saw one triple
Yeah.
threat and one one-on-one.
Right.
So you have no interest in seeing the two of them ever wrestle again.
If they do, I'll
So
be
you
fine with
you
it.
hated John Cena and CM Punk because they wrestled a number of times.
No, because they had a compelling story. Roman beat Edge very decisively in the triple threat, and dirty finish here. But I have no interest in seeing Edge in the title picture again. That's not what I want to see Edge do.
What do you want to see Edge do? Face
I
Goldberg?
want to see Edge face Randy Orton again. I like that.
I do want to see that. I do want to see more Edge and Orton for sure.
Or Edge moves over to Raw, finds like a tag team partner, tries to become another tag team champion. Who knows? Could you imagine Edge and AJ Styles in the same ring? That'd be so good. So good.
Edge and AJ, or even having a Edge, Riddle, and Orton in a program, where it ends up with
Almost in a
Edge
steel,
and Riddle
in like a
and a rated RKO kind of a tag team again. You know what I mean?
Well, I would love that.
Indecisive.
Oh my god, if Edge moves over to Raw and then Riddle and him team up, and Riddle likes Edge more than Orton, which makes Orton jealous.
Yeah.
Just a quick update: Bucks 98, Suns 92.
Not
With
good.
3 minutes to go.
3 minutes to go. They can still get it done. But at the end of this match, we did have the big return. We had "My Time Is Now." We had John Cena come back.
Mr. Ruthless Aggression himself.
Get right in the face of John Cena. Steps up, does the old "you can't see me, you sons of bitches," gets on the fucking top rope and panders to the crowd again.
May I point out that Michael Cole screams, "It's Cena," and Pat McAfee says, "Where?" Maybe the best thing I've ever. Pat McAfee just gets it. Pat McAfee just gets it. He's so good at everything.
It's weird, right? Like, I think the thing I'm most interested in seeing from Pat McAfee at this point is watching him fail at anything, because that's the only thing I've not seen him do.
I don't want to see him
You know what I
fail.
mean?
I like him too much. He's too likable.
It doesn't have to be something major. He just needs to
He lost.
lose
He
like
lost
an eating
against
contest.
Adam. He lost to Adam Cole and in the War Games match.
No, it was stupid. Like, that was dumb. You know who everyone talked about at the end of the match? Pat McAfee. No one talked about Adam Cole. It was it wasn't like a real loss. He actually won that match because everyone talked about how amazing he was.
Yeah, because they were surprised.
Because he was amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I want to see him
he
fail at something. Like, he's got to enter like a hot dog eating contest and not win.
He would be.
And I'll be like,
Joey
oh
Chestnut.
shit.
Could you imagine if Joey Chestnut and Pat McAfee were a tag team?
That'd actually be a great tag team. They'd be great
I would-
commentators.
Oh my god, I would love to see Joey Chestnut talk because I've never seen him talk before.
It's hard to talk when you have that many hot dogs in your mouth.
It's true. It's a lot of
Ask
wieners.
Val Venus. Amanda Jane's in the chat. She goes, okay, so who is listening to me? Because episode 1, Cena, EKO, Jorts, squeeze. That's true. There's a story about that. She goes, seriously, I checked, and it was EKO, Jorts. So I'm saying, Bruce Pritchard's a fan of the show. He overheard that those are the shorts that Amanda enjoyed the most, and that's why those are the jorts that he's wearing now. What do you think about Cena being back and going for Roman? And then he cut that promo on Raw where he said that, hey, I'm back because Roman's an asshole. And fuck that dude. What do you think about all that?
Saw online, so it must be true because it was on the internet, that Cena's to make 15 appearances through SummerSlam,
Yeah, his schedule was released.
which awesome.
Yeah.
John Cena,
He's hitting every WWE show, house shows and everything.
he is the biggest mainstream draw that they could have other than The Rock.
In less than one day, every video that WWE had posted that has John Cena in it from Money in the Bank and the afterwards, because he cut a little promo afterwards that was an exclusive to WWE.com. They all had about like 12 million views.
He's huge. Because again, I just say my mom because she's not a wrestling fan, but
Yeah.
my mom knows who John Cena is. Like my sister knows who John Cena is. Like he is a crossover star.
Yeah.
So it matters. It matters when he shows up. But when Goldberg shows up, nobody knows who the hell that guy is besides wrestling fans. And maybe even then, if you weren't alive in the 1990s or 80s, you might not know who Goldberg is. If you're alive in the 80s, you're probably alive in the 90s.
That's a good point. I was about to hit you on the math, but age-wise, that works. But I mean, it's a good point. You could be 20 years old watching wrestling and have never seen Goldberg wrestle.
Right.
And that's crazy to think about.
But you know who John Cena is, whether you've watched wrestling or not, which is more
Correct.
important.
Producer, who is asleep, so we won't disturb her too much. But she did not grow up with a TV. She didn't watch any wrestling or anything. She didn't start wrestling until we got together. Right. And she absolutely knew who John Cena was before we started dating, but she had no idea. She'd never heard of Goldberg, so you're right on that.
Right. And yeah, other than The Rock, I can't think of a single bigger crossover star that they could get.
Yeah. 100%. I got no problem with the idea of Roman versus Cena. We've got 4 or 5 weeks of them cutting promos on each other, and they're both incredible talkers at this point.
And there's Paul Heyman behind him, so Paul Heyman and John Cena cutting promos at each other.
Yeah.
And the Usos pretty good at cutting promos on John Cena. And John Cena made that how is it like getting arrested joke at them like a couple years ago?
Yeah. It's gonna be brutal and crazy and amazing. I think it's gonna be everything. You know what I was gonna ask you about, and I totally forgot, but we're still in it. So on Smackdown, something I noticed that they aired a video package for Apollo Crews. Just that it was Apollo Crews. He was their Intercontinental Champion. He was Nigerian and had a bunch of little highlight things, and that was it. He didn't even show up on the show, but they had a video package for it. Do you think, because I'm wondering, is WWE launching everything with fans as though it were almost a new season just to catch you up in case you missed it, in case you weren't watching because fans weren't in the arena? Here's what you missed. Because that's really the impression I got over the weekend.
I could see it as a soft reset or like a reminder. Because the last show in front of crowds, Apollo Crews won the IC title.
Yes.
So it does make sense.
And I also think that there's a number of people who would watch wrestling from time to time who I mean, I had some friends who even told me, without fans, it's not the same. I don't think I can watch again until there are fans back. I think they're expecting a larger viewership with fans back in the arenas, and they want to remind people where they're at. Does that
How
make
many
sense?
people watch SmackDown?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm gonna look
You can
that
check
up right
Alvarez.
now.
Look it up, see if you can find it. Because I do think that there was something about their programming that made me think that they thought they were doing a reset, like you said. It was a new season almost. Between Money in the Bank, SmackDown, and Raw, it felt a lot like a WrestleMania reset. Like, all right, guys, everything's different. Everything's new. Let's see. While you look that up, Graham is saying...
2.18 million people.
Watch SmackDown?
Yeah, which is up 300,000 people roughly
Yeah, that's
from
good.
the week before.
Graham says, Joey Chestnut, most Big Mets eaten video, 5.4 million views. John Cena, 12 million. I think you said, Marsh, can't believe you didn't mention the word wiener when talking about Joey, to be honest. Put them in tag team. Dude, I don't even talk about Joey Chestnut's wiener.
I don't think you need to talk about Joey Chestnut's wiener.
Yeah,
It's
or
pretty
all
much.
72 of his wieners.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's 76.
oh, new record, huh? So, as far as Cena being back, I couldn't be more excited, if I'm being honest.
I could be
I
more
see
excited.
no flaws in this game.
I could be more excited.
Why?
I'm just saying in general I could be more excited. I think that while John Cena, I think it, again, if The Rock came back, I think I'd like lose my mind.
Yes.
Just because The Rock is a bigger star than John Cena. But this is the best they can do. It's not that bad. It's not that bad that their biggest person that they could get is John freaking Cena, who's Vin Diesel's brother. So, there's that.
Well, in this show alone, we had fucking Goldberg, John Cena, Keith Lee, Jeff Hardy. Like, you had some fucking people on this, man.
Jeff Hardy wrestled in 2021. Don't say it like that.
He's been wrestling for a long time, but I'm saying, like, if you're
No.
you're expecting a spike in viewership, and you're trying to get a bunch of people that people recognize as well, like, what better crew than that?
And my favorite thing about John Cena is that in the past 4 or 5 years, he's only put over people, basically.
Yes.
Like, he put over AJ, he put over Roman, he put over Bray Wyatt, he put over Becky Lynch on that weird SmackDown. John Cena is in the stage of his career where he's giving back. Maybe they want to give him a 17th world title. Maybe that'll boost ratings. I think it's fine if they don't.
To be honest, I think he'd be fine either way. I think if he gets
Right.
the win on Roman, because he could do the Rock story now. The once-in-a-lifetime Rock versus Cena, The Rock won the first one and took the title off of Cena.
That's not true.
No, it's true. It's not true. But he won. And then the second time he came around, Rock had picked up the title on his way to Cena, and Cena gets the title off Rock. I could definitely see them doing a two-parter here, where Roman, quote, humbles Roman, Cena humbles Roman, and then Roman squashes Cena.
Right.
I could see two parts.
And, oh my God, could you imagine Brock versus Cena? But like again?
Oh, that would be fucking
And then
crazy.
Cena
Or even a
squashes-
triple threat.
Cena
Dude.
squashes Brock?
What if you have Cena, Roman, Brock in a triple threat, and then Roman stacks Cena and Brock?
And then The Rock
mean-
comes, and then he cuts a promo. He's like, "I'm the head of the table. There's no one better than me." Rock comes out.
Yeah. If you
Which is the rest of it.
smell. Yeah. He's already got the
and-
Waffle House shirt, the stack 'em, smash 'em, slap 'em, smack 'em.
Right. I think the only bigger return that could happen right now is Daniel Bryan,
Yes.
because Daniel Bryan in front of fans. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That'd be nuts. I'm excited to see where it goes, man. I think we got nowhere to go but up on that one.
Also, if Becky won, that would have been sick, but I guess I can
Might
be
have
wrong.
been good. Let's see. Just running through Raw. Riddle, Viking Raiders against AJ Omos and Morrison. That was a fun match. I really like that spot where almost like AJ's running off the ropes and then almost like picks up AJ and throws him at the guys. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like an Enzo and Cass thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that was fun. Jackson Riker and Elias. It was okay. I don't think that the crowd was very into the match. I think they were into the broken devices.
Right.
Every time someone got hit by something, they went, oh! But when people were like punching or hitting or going back and forth, there was like nothing. Does that sound about right to you?
Sounds about right.
Okay. Let's see. What do you think? How are you feeling about this Alexa stuff?
I don't think it's for me. Like, this is definitely not for me. I don't like this
Okay.
at all. So I can't speak on that because I already have bias that I don't like it.
Okay.
Um,
I'm in a weird spot.
like I
where
would think it would be
Go ahead.
really cool if she won the Money in the Bank by just like literally falling to her,
Yes. That'd been
like
wild.
Otis, but it wasn't dropped. It just like falls to her because they can totally do that.
I
think that
did
would
like
be
that when she gets in the ring and she just holds her hand up like something's going to happen, but nothing happens and Asuka suplexes her. And then Michael Cole's like, I guess she was trying to use powers? Like, I thought that was great. But I think that for me with Alexa, I think she's doing such an awesome job acting this out that I'm not going to look away and I'm going to watch. And I've been very enjoyed by all of her segments. But there is a big part of me that's just also not terribly invested. Like, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what match we're leading towards that I'm supposed to give a shit about. If it is Eva Marie or Doudrop, I don't see myself rooting for any three of those people specifically. Alexa, Eva, or Doudrop. I'm kind of like, yeah, I guess they could all use a win. So it's this weird thing where I don't feel invested, but I feel like hyper interested, if that makes sense. Like, I think everyone's doing a great job at the segments, but I don't find myself giving too many shits after the fact. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't know what's happening with Bray Wyatt, but I really haven't felt anything for this since Bray Wyatt left at TLC, and that was like 6-7 months ago.
Mania. Yeah.
I was thinking TLC because I forgot about the Mania thing.
Yeah.
You forgot about the Miz being WWE champ, so I guess we're tied on that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Graham
we
is in
haven't
the
seen
chat
him
saying
since-
it's getting late. My connection keeps cutting out too, so I'll have to do it for me tonight, y'all. Keep talking and good talk, gentlemen. Graham, cheers. I'll keep in message about the shirts. Thank you for coming through. And yeah, it's getting a little late, but I think we're getting close to done. So I do appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, guys. So cheers to that.
don't have your kids listen
Go
to
ahead.
this, Graham.
Yeah. Go ahead. Your like whole face is behind the mic.
Oh, my bad. Is that better?
Just tell people you're being mic'd. Yeah. But what were you saying about it?
I don't know. I think that without Bray Wyatt, the character is kind of lost right now because I think they've done all that they can do. Like, they've done spooky shit. They've done not spooky shit.
I do feel like it's suffering from a lack of higher understanding of what the characters are doing. And I think that that's what Bray brings to it, is that he has a vision there. And I think other people are just trying to sort it out. And it feels a lot like a cover band where it's all like, oh, what would Bray do? I bet he would do something like this. And in the meantime, Bray is like, I would not do that. I would have done this. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it feels like. But I think that Alexa's performing fantastically. I think she's performing flawlessly. I still think she's on borrowed time. I think Hollywood will scoop her up.
Well, I don't know about that.
Her acting is so good. I don't see how Hollywood would not take advantage of it one way or another. But
If that's what you think, but I don't think that. I think that there's few wrestlers who can be, who are crossover people.
I agree, but I think Alexa's one of them. I think her acting chops are far and above almost everyone else. I don't think anyone else could pull it off as well as she's pulled it off already. But I think you could easily throw her into a horror movie of some kind, but I think you could also do a bunch more with her. I think her acting is just top notch. I'd say that I think that when I think of like the best actors, like just straight up actors in WWE, I would be talking about Alexa, Roman, and Bray would be the first three that would come to mind as like just truly good actors who happen to also be wrestlers. Where I think
You
of like...
you wouldn't count Cena at all?
I don't think that I would think of Cena or Rock because they're just already absorbed by Hollywood.
They're already like professional.
Yeah.
Actor. Roman was in the Fast and the Furious movie.
He didn't have any lines.
Really? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So
He had no lines. He was just kind of there, and he made a couple of noises.
He said "ooh-ah," didn't he?
I think so. I think that's what he said. But that was it. That's what I mean. Like, I think the potential for them is there. I think that their potential for being in Hollywood one way or another is fucking incredible. I think Alexa's maybe the best actor in the women's division completely. And I think that a lot of the other women are great at what they do, and they're fantastic wrestlers and cut amazing promos. But there's something about the way that Alexa and Roman and Bray perform that to me seems different and seems more Hollywood than it does seem wrestling, if that makes sense. And I don't mean that as a dig on anyone, but I do think that at some point Hollywood's going to take notice of Alexa and go, yep, we'll take that one too.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a weird character to pull off. And
I agree.
And I think that as much as the story doesn't connect with a lot of people because the story seems pretty discombobulated if you break it down, I think that what she's doing, no one can complain about. I don't think anyone's been like, what the fuck is Alexa doing? They go, where the hell is this going? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Speaking of where the hell is this going, I do want to talk about this before we just kind of like probably wrap it up. Natalya and Tamina defeated Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and at the end of this match, I thought, oh, thank God, we're going to get the breakup of Nia and Shayna. Shayna's going to turn on Nia and Reginald and break off on her own. And in turn, Nia attacks Reginald, and Shayna and Nia are back together. It's a tag team that nobody wanted, that they don't seem to be wanting to do, and just won't fucking go away. I want so badly for Shayna, Nia, and Reginald to be away from each other.
Hey, you're talking about the new 24/7 champion.
Dude, Reginald is going to be so good as a 24/7 champion. All the flips, the weird aversions, it's going to be fucking badass as him as a 24/7 champion. That's exactly where he belongs. But Shayna and Nia do not belong together.
I agree with that.
What did you think about this segment?
I didn't really care. I also thought that like they were gonna break up, but nope. It kind of felt like the Andrade Angel Garza thing from last year, where like it was like they broke up, but then they just were together the next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And even from the beginning of Shayna and Nia, they kept being like not wanting to tag together. They just
they
to
even
work.
said like in storyline like I don't like you, stay out of my way, but let's win.
Yeah, it's like the fuck, man, just drop it, move on, like get away from it. Not happy about it at all. I want to know what you think before I talk about what happened at the end of the show. This is the first Raw you've seen in its entirety in how long?
Easily Royal Rumble, comfortably since there was a Raw Underground.
And I miss Raw Underground. I loved Raw Underground.
I thought it was a nice concept, but poorly executed.
There were issues with it, but I loved it in general, and I thought there was a lot they could do with it. And I think if it weren't for COVID, I think we would have seen some really great things in it, to be honest. But
I don't think it would have existed without COVID.
it wouldn't have existed without COVID, but it ended because of COVID.
Yes.
And I think that there was so much potential there for it to be something incredible, and it just was a victim of circumstance.
Right.
What did you think of this Raw as someone who hasn't watched a full Raw in its entirety in quite a long time? Would you give it I mean, even if we were to not say like 8 out of 10, even if you give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, where would you have put it?
Thumbs in the middle.
Right.
Leaning, I want to give it like a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But there was just so much. It felt like there was filler on the show, where on SmackDown there wasn't. Like, it just felt like there was filler.
Was that the Drew stuff?
The Drew stuff, which we didn't even talk about. The Cross stuff. The women's tag stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the moments were moments, but like I didn't care. It didn't feel like the show knew what it was doing. It was just like, well, this will get a pop. Let's just do this then. Like, it seemed like they were really trying to get pops.
Yeah. And it wasn't tightly knit. Like the idea of the women's tag title match being what it was and then ending in the 24/7 title thing definitely feels like, well, I guess we got 30 minutes to kill, right? So I'll give you that for sure. I felt, as someone who watches every Raw, this was a good Raw.
That's because you watch Raw every week.
Exactly. I never miss it, and I watch every Raw twice. And I will say, every Raw is better the second time because you already know when to stop paying attention.
That's not good. That is not good.
It's fantastic.
That is not good. That is not a good show. I'm going to stop paying attention now. If you have to watch a television show and not watch 20 minutes at a time of it, it is not a good television show.
Yeah, that's why I stopped watching AEW.
Oh.
You're like, dick. No, I agree. And there's a lot of Raws that for a while were like tough to watch and it felt like homework. But at this point, the last like 3 or 4 episodes or so has felt like good Raw. And to be honest, I think a lot of that has to do with how much they've pulled away from Drew. Because there was a while where Drew was involved in over half of the segments of the show. And it was brutal. At this point, he's involved in like one segment at a time. And it's fine. He can do his thing. What'd you think about him hitting Jinder's cohort almost 30 times? Because they only counted to 20 when he hit him the second time. But he'd already hit him a bunch the first time. So it was almost 30 strikes with a chair against a guy who was already down and injured. What do you think of babyface Drew?
Are they turning him?
He's a piece of shit, right?
Are they turning him?
I don't think they are, but I think
like
he's
last
a total
week,
fucking asshole.
didn't he ruin Jinder's motorcycle last week? Was that last week?
Yeah, he
Like
ripped
2
it
weeks
apart
ago?
as a babyface.
Yeah. Yeah, sell the toy. It just came out.
The toy came out like 4 months ago.
It just came out. Don't worry about it. Just came
The toy came
That
out
was
like
a
4 months ago.
That was a soft launch.
Soft launch. I do love when they do that shit though, because they do it. They'll release a toy and you'll be like, "What the fuck is this?" And then 3
I
months
saw it
later,
at
you'll
Walmart
see-
I saw it at Walmart like a number of months ago, and I just texted Derek and I was just like, "What the actual fuck? Are they just running out of ideas for toys?"
Yep. And then they're like, "Well, we got to make it work." Like the Braun that came with a sports car you could rip apart. I remember taking a picture of that and sending it to Kevlar. I mean, like, maybe this is something good for your kid. And he goes, "Where the fuck is that car from?" I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Never seen anything like it." He hasn't even done that. And then 2 months
The
later,
one that
he
I
had
saw,
that
it
fucking
was
sports car
Roman
thing.
Reigns and The Undertaker. It wasn't Drew McIntyre or Jinder Mahal. It was like Drew. Oh my god! What if
Right. There's an
Undertaker
Undertaker, Roman, and Drew in the motorcycle series.
Right. There's a Drew one. I didn't know there was a Drew one. I've just seen the Roman and the Undertaker one.
No. There's a Drew one, and it's red and has that tribal shit on the side of it.
Oh, the Undertaker.
100%.
The Undertaker one is black. I want to say.
Yeah. No. The Drew one's the red one. And that's why they did this.
Oh, that's dumb.
So I always get a
Is it
kick out of it when they do something that's clearly to sell a toy. But all that aside, Drew hitting one dude with a fucking chair like 30 times for no fucking reason. They even took a picture of the guy's back, and like you can see it, and like the dude is scarred the fuck up. Like Drew's a total fucking asshole in this, and I don't get how anyone sees it a different way. Like, best case scenario, Jinder Mahal broke a replica toy that Drew had lying around. And at this point, Drew's a goddamn menace. You with me?
Maybe that's it. I kind of like that. If that's the story they're telling of Drew becoming unhinged because he can't fight for the WWE Championship anymore,
Okay.
that could be an interesting story. If he's becoming unhinged and he's not becoming heel, he's like losing it. That could be interesting.
see that.
That's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
That could be interesting. Maybe I don't think that's the story they're telling, but that's the story. That's a story that they could tell because it works. Because Jinder screwed him out of the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So he's just getting back at people. But if he becomes the Scottish psychopath, but like a face, and he's just like psychotic, and he just like will do anything to win a match because maybe he'll get another championship shot. He'll do anything. Could be interesting.
100%. I think you're right. It could be. We'll see what they do with it, but at this point, I don't give a shit to see Drew in there. I think that the best thing they can do with Drew is keep him to one segment at a time. I think that when he was the most televised on Raw is when it was easily discussed as the worst Raws ever. And the thing is this, too, like, people are so weird and neglectful of just the basic observations of it all, right? Like, the amount of people who were saying, oh, Raw was really bad, but that's nothing to do with the performers. It's nothing to do with Drew. Drew's doing the best he can do. If it weren't for Drew, this would have been terrible. But he's in fucking 90% of the segments. I don't know, man. I think there's more of a 50-50 cut than people give credit. I think that it's really easy to say that, and we talked about it once before a while back, but like, it's really easy to say, I think it was episode 1. It's really easy, I think, to say no fault to the talent. It comes down to creative for everything. But there has to be a point where we say creative gave talent something and talent couldn't pull it off. I think there's a more even divide of responsibility on talent and creative than fans are willing to give. Fans will give the talent a mile and give creative an inch. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They're really quick to point fingers at creative and say it's your fault. And they're really hesitant to point fingers at the talent and say you didn't pull that off. But when I think about what we're about to talk about with Nikki Ash, Nikki ASH, this is a superhero character that Nikki came up with 6 months ago and keeps pushing and pushing and pushing.
Whoa. She's almost a superhero.
Almost a superhero.
She's not a superhero yet.
Exactly. That's what makes it so good. Almost a superhero. But it's the thing that Nikki keeps pushing over and over and over again. She's had these drawings done up by different people. What can you do? Oh, let's make it look like this. The idea that when it came out, people said, this is fucking garbage. I didn't say that. I loved it right away because I said, this is something she can bite into. But
I wasn't a fan, but I was like, all right, it could be good. And every week she kept putting her all into it. So I was just like, all right, maybe it's supposed to be goofy on purpose. Like, maybe it's just not shit. Maybe this is just also meant for kids. So I'm just like, not a kid. So it's not meant for me. And that's okay.
Could be.
Because there's other things on the show that are meant for me. Like hard ass Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. For one, exactly. Hard Barbie Lashley for me. But yeah. I do think there's a lot of the shows in general where we try to say, it's either all for me or none for me, and that's just not the case. It's a 3-hour variety show. There's a lot for everybody.
Right. I totally get that. I that's what it's taken me a while to get to that point, because like when I was like 18, 19 years old, I was totally like, WWE shit. It's never gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then as I realized, like, this is a television show marketed to all ages because it's on prime time until late at night. So
Yeah.
Nikki Ash
100%.
or Nikki ASH winning. Number one, women main eventing. The first show back, awesome. Number two, title change. It's gonna get ratings up. People are gonna watch. They're gonna be like, "What's Nikki Ash gonna do with the championship?" That's cool.
Yep.
That's different.
Yep.
They're trying to make a new star, and I've never seen somebody get pushed so fast ever since Finn Balor in 2016, and look how long that lasted.
Yeah.
So as long as Nikki stays with it, and she keeps going all in, because this wouldn't work unless Nikki wasn't 100% committed. But she's committed to this.
Exactly.
Poor, this is not a good character without Nikki putting 100% in, because you could totally phone this rip off Hurricane character and it would be fine and people would shit all over it. But Nikki Cross is so good. Yeah. And she's convinced everybody that she's so good too, because she is.
100%. And I think that's what my point is that Nikki fights for this program to come out, for this character to be, and finally gets the okay to do it. She comes out and the larger fan base shits all over it. And what is this horrible thing? What is this absolute garbage that WWE is forcing upon this poor performer? And once that it came out by Damo, her husband, and Nikki herself, as this is something I've been working on for 6 months and I really believe in it and I want something to happen, the entire internet wrestling community fucking comes to a screeching halt and goes, "Oh, no. This is a good one. Don't worry. She came up with it. Therefore, it's a good idea." This is twofold to me. One, good ideas aren't determined by where they come from, right? If Vince has the idea, or Nikki has the idea, or Pat Patterson has the idea, or Bastion Booger has the idea in the back to say Nikki ASH, it doesn't matter who came up with it. It's either going to be a good idea or a bad idea. It comes down to the investment. And I will say that, like you said, Nikki being 100% invested has a lot to do with the fact that she came up with it. Yes. However, if it was bestowed upon her and she didn't come up with it, and she didn't put that effort into it, whose fault is that? Is this a bad character because someone else could have come up with it, or is it a good character because she's invested in it? When you look at characters like Goldust and Undertaker and Mankind and Kane, they're all shitty gimmicks, man. They're shitty characters. There's no difference between them and the Goon and the Red Rooster. There's none. The only difference is the performers behind them got 100% invested in it and made it work.
Mick Foley was
Turned
already
it into
over
something.
before he was Mankind.
Not to that audience, he wasn't.
I guess. Got me on that one.
I remember the first time I saw Mankind on TV, I'd never heard of Cactus Jack or Mick Foley. I remember seeing him, and I was
That's because you were born in 1894, so.
Well, and I also didn't watch WCW at all growing up. I watched WWF exclusively.
Oh.
But
I wasn't alive when WCW folded, so that's a lie. That's a lie. It's just funny to say that I'm 17. Yeah. But I'm drinking alcohol, so I am 23 years old. I'm the youngest person on the IWC.
That's a good point.
It's not Derek. Derek's younger than me.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with her gimmick at all. I think that
I never said anything wrong about it. I never said it was anything wrong. I'm not saying there is.
But what I'm saying is that I don't like that there's a narrative out there. This is another one. This last episode that Sam Roberts put out, to me, I was just like, what the fuck? And this was another thing he said. He said how smart it was for Nikki to cut it off, to nip it in the bud, more or less, and to tell people early that it was her idea so people would get behind it. He goes, how smart was that? And I was like,
Sam Roberts is a hack.
I like Sam Roberts. But
Sam Roberts is a hack. He's on WWE's dime.
Yeah, but at the same time, how shitty of it is. Can't you just say it's a shitty fucking community that you have to say, no, think it's a good idea because I came up with it and not someone else, and then the whole fucking crowd changes? Like, that's shitty. That's bad. It's either a good idea or it's bad. It doesn't matter where it came from. And I actually had a conversation with him once where I asked specifically, what's the difference between the Goon and Dan the Dad or Man Scout?
Or Danhausen.
What's the difference? Or Danhausen. I was like,
I
what's
love
the difference?
Danhausen. I think Danhausen's awesome.
Sure. No problem with it. I was like, what's the difference between that and Luchasaurus? What's the difference between shitty gimmicks and good gimmicks when they're all cartoonish gimmicks?
Well, Danhausen
And
is
hit-
100% all in, though. I think that's the difference
Sure.
between some characters and other characters is that when you're 100% in, like
Yes.
it does make a huge difference.
Exactly. And that's my
Like,
point,
again,
is it comes
like-
down on the performer for
Right.
fucking up a gimmick they're given, right?
Like, Repo Man
So if-
sucks. Like that's the one that I would use. Like Repo Man sucks as a gimmick, and it sucked as a character because the guy who was Repo Man didn't care. But
So did it suck as a gimmick or did it suck as a performer? Who's at fault, the creative or the performer?
I think it's a combination of the both. Why can't it be
I
both?
think I think that there's definitely a shared responsibility there that people aren't willing to talk about.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you're talking about it's either creative or that, but it could be a combination of both. Like it could be a shitty gimmick, and it could also be because it's a shitty gimmick, it's shitty execution. Because you're right. Undertaker and Kane are like on paper should not work, but because they put 100% in and they never broke kayfabe, like they did, like it's only in the past year and a half that Undertaker has done like interviews,
Yeah.
and that's wild. It's wild. When I saw Undertaker on Hot Ones, I was just like, "What is going on?
Yeah.
This is unreal." When I'm seeing him on like ESPN talking about Stone Cold, when he was on Stone Cold's thing, I was just like, "What's going on?" Undertaker doesn't do. I guess when you're retired, you don't give a shit. But that's the thing is that he never retired.
100%, dude. That's all I'm saying, and I don't mean that as like a massive dig, but I just think it's a conversation that's worth having at some point. It's a little late in the day for us to continue that conversation, but I do think that
Maybe
there's
on
a
episode
shared-
1.
Maybe we'll go back to it, episode 1. But I think there's a shared responsibility between creative and performer, and I think that we're really easy as a community to point the finger at creative solely and not put responsibility on the performer. If a gimmick fails, we always say, "Well, they were strapped with a shitty gimmick. What are you gonna do?" But when a gimmick succeeds, it goes, "Oh, I can't believe they pulled it off. They did such a good job of it. That performer's incredible." It goes both ways. If a gimmick fails, there's a good chance that performer didn't fucking buy in and wasn't invested. And that, to me, falls on the performer and not of the gimmick. What's up?
The difference is The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Very hope. Because same gimmick, same level of effort, but I think that The Fiend is better than Alexa Bliss because it's like shitty what they're doing with her.
I can see that. I would accept that as an argument, as a counter.
Because that's the same thing. I would say that that's almost identical gimmicks. Comparing Luchasaurus and Mankind is really hard in my mind.
It's tough, but similar. I'll give you. I would say it wouldn't be a huge stretch to make the comparison, but I will say that largely Alexa and Bray are similar gimmicks with equal investment, and you're seeing two different playouts. So I would say that that Alexa would definitely be a victim of creative and not of herself.
Right.
Where I do think that there are gimmicks that failed because of the performer and not the creative, to be honest. And I think that it's just a conversation nobody wants to have. Everyone wants to support the wrestlers, and I get that. They're the ones we see. They're the ones on our screen. They're the ones we like. So I totally get saying, like, well, it can't be their fault. I like them. And you can like someone and have them be at fault, too. Let's wrap it up. Let's talk about Nikki ASH. Kuro says it best in the chat. He says Nikki's new gimmick only has one issue. Superhero is actually one word. So it can't be ASH. It would just be AS.
You can totally have an acronym that is the same word.
Yeah, why not? I split it up all the time. MARSH is an acronym for Marsh.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe a really shitty hero?
Yes. Awful. What do you think
Is
about
is it actually an acronym?
No.
Okay.
I just
So
don't
you're
want to
a
confuse
liar.
you forever. Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
What do you think about Nikki cashing in here, getting the title win off of Charlotte? Most of Charlotte Flair's title reigns are less than a week old. I do think it was another mechanism to pump the numbers for Charlotte because it's more important that she gets more numbers than she gets reigns or gets significant title reigns at all. I think the idea that Bayley had the title for almost 500 days with 2 reigns is very telling when you have Charlotte with 11 title reigns and a collective 6-month worth of championship title time.
There's no way. That's not true.
Dude, look it up. You're going to be surprised. What do you think about Nikki getting the title here? What's up?
I can't see you, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it could be.
Is there a duck? Is there a duck in your house?
Could be ducks.
Could be
There's
ducks.
Oftentimes, every storm brings a duck.
So I have a question. Would a duck be a good wrestling gimmick?
Yes.
It's not somebody's a dinosaur. It's somebody's a duck. Call them quackers. Quackers the Quaker. It's just
100%.
a duck.
He's an Amish duck, yeah.
And finishing move is a headbutt called the duck bill.
Yeah. And he has a submission called Lights Out.
And his catchphrase, quack quack motherfuckers.
Yeah. And one of his other signature moves is churn back time.
When I was at a wrestling show recently, there's an Amish character in the Battle Royal, and he brought out a butter churner.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Those are hard to find. What do you think about Nikki cashing in on Charlotte? I really like Nikki as a champion.
Right.
I think that the idea of Charlotte as an 11-time champion at this point is an expose of how much the company wants her to have her father's record and not an indication of championships earned by any means. That's really what I feel.
I'm happy we got the Nikki cash in. I'm angry that we had to sit through another shitty Charlotte Rhea match to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we really had to peel away the shit from our eyes to see the little bit of gold.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think this match is very good. Charlotte,
why don't they have good matches? Isn't Charlotte actually a good wrestler and stuff? And Rhea's pretty good.
That's what they say. I'm going to be honest. While I'm watching this match and I'm hearing Corey Graves pitch over and over again that Charlotte is the single best women's wrestler on the roster and the greatest women's wrestler in the history of WWE and maybe the best wrestler in all of the company, I'm watching the match and I feel a total disconnect. I feel like I'm not seeing what they're saying.
I'm trying to think of all of Charlotte's great matches. They all involve Sasha Banks, and that's because Sasha Banks is tremendous at wrestling.
Or Becky, when I think of the last woman standing match at Evolution, incredible match.
And Becky's also tremendous at wrestling.
So good.
I
think that there's a lot to be said about Charlotte being over pushed and those around her keeping her lifted effectively. You know what I mean? If she constantly is in rivalries with Becky and Sasha, and Becky and Sasha are two of the greatest to ever actually do it, Charlotte might look like she's the best. But if Charlotte keeps having shitty matches with Rhea Ripley, and she has a shitty match in a triple threat, if she has shitty matches with fucking Bianca Belair, you know what I mean? It gets to a point where it's Charlotte's only having good matches with people who we already know are great.
Right.
She's not having good matches with people who are learning. And when I think of Becky's title reign, or not Becky's title reign, I mean, for one, Becky's title reign's fine. But Bayley's title reign, every month, she had a different challenger at the pay-per-view. And it was all very Buffy the Vampire Slayer Monster of the Month. But every match was a good match. It didn't matter who she was in the ring with. It was probably that person's best match they've had yet. And I don't think Charlotte gives that to people. They never have their best match against Charlotte. Charlotte's best matches are against other people, but no one's best match is against Charlotte.
It's true. I agree with that.
I don't know. I didn't see what this was all about. I was really happy to see Nikki take a win. I'm happy to see Nikki as a champion. Do you think she holds on to it for a while, or do you think that they strip it before SummerSlam?
I think she holds on to it past SummerSlam.
Me too. Who do you think she'd go up against in SummerSlam? You think it's Alexa?
No. Do you drop her Eva?
Or
Do you
Can
drop
you
and Eva?
well, for one. But can you imagine Nikki against Charlotte at SummerSlam and Nikki retains? Clean.
Put her over. For sure.
I think that could be tremendous.
But I want to see Becky at SummerSlam. Like, who does Becky face?
That's tough.
Or because Seth is on SmackDown, is Becky on SmackDown?
I don't know.
Because Becky versus Bianca? That'd be good.
It could be really good. But then at that point, you feel like Becky's got to win, so it gets tough.
No, because then you can put on Bianca. Because, like, I like Bianca.
You could double down on Bianca? You could.
Because does Becky really need it? It's kind of like Charlotte. Does Charlotte really need it? Like, what does Charlotte gain from doing that? Like, wouldn't it have been...
Yeah, but the difference is that the difference is with Becky is she holds the championship because she's the best. With Charlotte, she doesn't need the championship because they say that she's the best even if she doesn't have it. She was literally in the ring with the champion, and all commentary had to say was, how good is Charlotte?
I believe she's impressive. I wouldn't say she's good.
I don't think I'd even really go that far, to be honest. She's a good wrestler, but I think that's kind of where I leave it. But I'm saying, like, Becky's character is the champion because she is the best. Mm-hmm. Charlotte's character is bigger than the championship because if she's in the ring with the champion, commentary will still say Charlotte's the best person in this match. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who the champion is. They'll say, well, Charlotte's better. And that, to me, is the fucked up dichotomy of it. Stop saying that Charlotte's better than the champion constantly. You fucking undermine the title at that point. God damn it. Was there anything else that you thought we didn't quite hit on it?
No, I think we cut it all. We've been on for like, gotta be 4 hours now, right?
It's getting close. It's getting close to that, yeah. I think that we hit a lot of the good stuff. I'm excited to see Roman back. I'm not Roman back. I'm excited to see Cena back. We got Goldberg back
too.
I do think that any day Becky's coming back. Any day we're going to get Becky back, and I'm excited for that too. I don't know who we put Becky with when she gets back, though. I'm excited to have Nikki as a champion. I think we're doing awesome stuff, dude. I do think that overall, this weekend, the first weekend back with fans between Monday, Sunday, and Friday, which is backwards, I think that WWE did a big reset of, like, we are back. We're doing this again. Like, we've been kind of, as much as they've been doing a little by little, and we thought they kind of moved on out of this, like, no fan thing, I think this is where they doubled down and said, no, we've really been holding on to a lot of our cards, and we're ready to play them all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Micah, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me personally at Dying Format on Twitter. Follow Specifically Devoid at Devoid Podcast. That's capital D, capital P. Specifically Devoid on YouTube. Specifically Devoid on all streaming platforms. We do wrestling, but we also do a bunch of other stuff. We are not just a wrestling channel. So tell your friends. Tell people you like. Tell people you don't like. Tell your parents.
It's a good point. If you need people to disagree with, this is them.
We have I'm a little out of kayfabe right now, but we have narrative stories going on right now. If you want, I'll spoil it. I mean, it's not spoil it. Our Just Incredible interview just dropped today. Just Incredible is a very nice guy. We got to talk about him as Aldo Montoya, him in ECW, him winning the ECW championship, and his thoughts on AEW, which I didn't think that Just Incredible watched AEW, so that's really cool. And
That is good.
And yeah, you can also I didn't plug this last time because I really wasn't a proper guest, but you can also find me at The Theory of Humor. That's humor spelled with a U. Where I dissect comedy clips of popular television shows and movies. Today's episode we just dropped was about Robin Williams. And next week, as a sneak peek, it's about The Office UK. So follow that channel, The Theory of Humor. You may have to look for it a little bit, but
have
it's
you
cool.
seen Zach Galifianakis live at the Purple Onion?
Yes.
Are you going to dissect any of that?
We don't dissect good things.
You're such a piece of shit. You're a heel, man. You're a goddamn heel. You are.
Yes, I am.
Micah is toxic.
I am Mika Pellegrini from Specifically Sporadically Devoid, the most toxic person over on the IWC. Hashtag Micah is toxic. I'm active on Twitter a lot. I just don't really follow wrestling Twitter because that doesn't interest me. I already know what I feel. I don't need that. Wrestling isn't real. Don't take it seriously because nothing is real. Marsh?
Dude, there's so much of wrestling Twitter. I scroll through it, I read a thing and go, you out of your fucking mind? And then I move on immediately. Because I don't let it fester. I don't let it sit in my psyche.
Right.
The way that people, the amount of outrage about Karrion Kross losing one fucking match on Raw to Jeff Hardy. Like, we're going to undermine the idea that Jeff Hardy isn't a fucking world champion multiple times, that he isn't a goddamn legend in his own right, that he didn't cheat twice to win.
Right, which cancels each other out.
Yeah. The fact that Karrion Kross jumped right up afterwards because it was all about leverage and not about actual defeat. The fact that that doesn't lead into a series of matches of Jeff Hardy versus Karrion Kross, how could you not be excited for that?
Or a Jeff Hardy heel turn. Who knows?
Or Jeff Hardy heel turn. The fact that Jeff Hardy came back with his old music from when he was a champion. It was just a whole fucking different presentation. Like,
right.
What the fuck are you guys going on about? Like,
I would just say, I'm pretty sure we've talked about it here, but if we haven't, you've definitely talked about it over on episode 1.
mm-hmm.
Let things play out. It's a television show. Let things play out. Don't instantly react because you're mad in the moment. Because they have a plan. You don't run a wrestling company. And if you do, it's not WWE. It's not on the scale of WWE. AEW isn't on the scale of WWE, and I love AEW. But they aren't on the same scale as WWE. I think they could one day, but not currently.
Mm-hmm.
They have about 10 hours of programming a week.
If you watch on their YouTube, it's even more. But, dude, I appreciate you coming through. I agree entirely with all of that. I appreciate you coming and watching all this stuff because you haven't watched a full Raw or SmackDown in a long time. I do think you keep up with the
YouTube
and the pay-per-views. Don't you watch the pay-per-views or no?
Yes. I didn't watch Money in the Bank Live, but I generally watch the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I also don't have a bad time. If I had a bad time watching this stuff, I wouldn't.
Right? I do that too. Like, so there was someone who was supposed to come on the show not that long ago, and we made this deal where they would watch all the WWE program, and I would make sure I'd watch everything of AEW. And I started watching AEW, and it got to a point where I couldn't personally continue watching, and I turned it off because I thought, you know what? At the end of the day, the conversation's going to be that I did what I could. You know what I mean? Because if I don't enjoy it, I'm going to turn it off. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, no matter who you like. If you don't like Raw, stop tuning in. Stop tweeting about it. Stop talking about it. Go to what you like and talk about that. I'm far more interested in what people like than what they don't. To be honest, however many people don't like what I say or not, I listen to Jim Cornette every week because I think that what he does like is fascinating in comparison to what he doesn't. Half the show I barely listen to because he's talking about what he doesn't like, and I don't give a shit.
But when it's all about AEW.
No, he hates a lot of WWE as well, to be honest.
I would assume so. So do I.
Yeah, he shits all over WWE a lot, and he shits all over AEW. He doesn't like most of what wrestling is at this point, and I get that.
But he's great. I love seeing him in Dark Side of the Ring, though. Like, he's great on that.
He's great in Dark Side.
His mind for his story and stuff. Like he talks about like stuff from like the 20s and 30s. I would have no idea about if it wasn't for Jim Cornette. He's amazing. He's brilliant.
He's so smart, and his ability to tell a story is so good. Just the way he articulates a story to you, so entertaining, so funny. But at the end of the day, when he's talking about shit he doesn't like, I halfway tune out. When he's talking about, now this was fantastic, I go, oh, what was it about him that spoke to him? You know, what was it about this that took place that he really enjoyed? I'm more interested in that. And I feel that way needs to be more across the board. We need to stop supporting people who talking shit all the time and keep supporting people who go, this is what I loved and why. Because it's more important to go towards what we like than it is to dwell on what we don't. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So if you don't like Raw, stop watching it and stop tweeting about it every fucking week. I don't need to see the same person tweet every week about how much they hate what they're watching right now. Stop watching. I'm bored of you. Right? I do really enjoy seeing people who watch the same stuff every week and talk about how every week they're more and more excited. I love that. Lean into that. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to have a few drinks and lean into what we like, lean into what we love. And a lot of times that is just companionship. Oh my God. How many times I got to wake her up? Well, Micah, it was awesome having you on. I don't know yet if Clump's going to make it for this next Thursday, so I will keep you in touch by tomorrow. I'll let you know if we need you for Thursday or not.
Nice.
We are at WOTR, the show. I am at Ref Marsh. That is Micah. What was it? At Dying Young? Is that what it is?
At Dying Format, capital D, capital F, at Devoid Podcast, capital D. Capital
Hell
D.
yeah. And check out Devoid Podcast because that is where you're going to find me as a contestant on a game show and a breakdown of legalese in kayfabe. And if there's anything we know about me, I definitely understand contracts and law. So, guys, check us out, WrestlingOnTheRocks.com for all of our links, our shop, all those things. If you are interested in the Wrestling on the Rocks Episode 1 Again t-shirts, send us a DM real quick because we have a whole shipment that just came in that we're going to be able to get out at some good prices, better than we can get at PWTs. So let us know if you're interested in of it. Let us know where you live. We'll figure out a good, cheap price for you. Guys, we'll be back on, what's today? Tuesday? We'll be back on Thursday for another Episode 1. That's the last call.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.